Hey everybody, you're listening to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. We're here. Sorry, chat, I don't have you open. They've changed some things on our back end here, and I'm going to simultaneously talk to you and also have Gonz tell me how to get the chat open. But somebody's here. Somebody's got to be here. In theory, Malik, I hear. The rumor is, a little birdie told me Malik was first comment of the day. So I appreciate that very much. Still waiting for Gonz to tell me how to open the chat. And we are going to get this show started. It's crazy. You're going to love it. All sorts of fun updates. And remember, YouTube, you'll just be getting the first half of the show. Not because we don't like you. It's because Susan doesn't like what we have to say. So you'll have to catch the second half of the show on another outlet. You can find those outlets at CanaryCry.Party. Go check it out. Do it now. It's a URL. You've heard of them, internet stuff. And you can find all of our fun links, including all the resources you need to get the most out of your Canary Cry experience. All right, folks. Well, here we go. Going to get the show started. Enjoy. Sit tight. Stay hydrated. You know the deal. Let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is March 23rd, 2022. We are live to tape for episode 462. That's right. And today, New Ward Older. You heard me right, folks. Razzle dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And just a reference for the people that are live with us. We're trying a new chat embed thing here. We're lots of streaming issues from a lot of people all over the internet.
It's crumbling. The cyber pandemic is here, and it starts with the streamers, folks.
Yeah. Oh no.
You thought it would be the banks. You thought it would be critical infrastructure. You thought there would be a real life trolley problem, but no. The hackers have struck, and the streamers are down. Yeah. We're doing our best. We're here.
Yeah, I just realized that Rumble is not live right now. So I'll be working on that. In the meantime, let's break into our top story here.
Let's do it.
Ukraine, New World Order.
I'm sorry.
Nah.
I messed up.
You messed it. Well, it's a probability. As Bob, I was recently called in real life the Bob Ross of podcasting.
Wow.
You can hear that over on Ravel. Yes. And part of it was, those happy little accidents, Gonz.
Yes.
It's okay. We live and we learn. Yeah. So let's try that again with our new lead story.
Well, it's kind of a pre-lead story because today, everything can fall apart today. We're battling the cyber pandemic slowly but surely. Mm-hmm. But there are, various things that can take everybody out, all the communication systems. New York Post published a headline here. Huge solar flare ejected from sun could hit Earth in days, mess with power grid. Now, this came out a couple days ago. The article states that on the 23rd, Wednesday, which is today, it might happen. Yeah. But, they say most likely we're not going to feel it. So that's what they always say.
Sure.
Yeah, just a heads up to everybody. If it all explodes and we all go off air and nobody can talk to each other or listen to podcasts for a moment, probably a solar flare.
as we've learned over the past few years, the best psychological operations are the ones that you cannot perceive but can only be told about by scientists. So yes, we're paying attention here. Okay, well, that's it. That's just a little thing, just a little warning.
Yeah. So let's. Okay, so this is.
Hold on, real quick. Okay. I'm seeing the new chat. It's hard for me to read. I'm not sure if anybody else is going to have an easy time.
I will get to that. I need to do the Rumble thing, but also we did play this clip from at the end of last episode because it just started trending right when we were going off air
during
last
the
episode.
show. It was breaking news.
Yeah, but to set it up, everyone's talking about the New World Order.
Now.
New World Order.
And it was our very own President Biden.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
And this clip has gone absolutely crazy viral.
You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it, and we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway.
You know, I just noticed something in that clip. Of course, we listened to it on Monday. I noticed something that I didn't notice before. He talks about, 60 million people dying. He's kind of talking about the wars of the early 1900s and how, after that is when we sort of developed this new world order coming to fruition, especially after the Cold War.
Yeah.
Or at least that's sort of the most attention it's getting recently. But he says nowhere near the level of chaos that we're currently having. Did I understand that right?
I think,
sounded like
he was trying to. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was trying to say that there's less chaos now. Like the turn of the century was more chaotic, more deaths.
That
60
certainly
million.
makes more sense. Would you mind if we listen to it one more time?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it, and we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so again, I'm just catching new things every time. So he is talking about, you're right. He said a lot of people died even after that, but there's not as much chaos. Talking about the new world order as a stabilizing event, a stabilizing structure after the early 1900s, which, which is not incorrect. It certainly stabilized geopolitically speaking the world. Because instead of competition, as far as, military competition or competition of ideologies playing out on sort of the battlefield, they developed this system, this new world order, where the world would be ruled, in theory, by neutral, unbiased law and norms. And that'll pop up again in one of our articles. But that was the idea. It's like, okay, let's stop fighting. Now we all agree to laws. We all agree to some stability. Nobody's going to be trying to take over other people. Okay, that was New World Order. And then he goes and he says, now we have a new world order, like a new world order, which I don't spend as much time as I should in our Discord channel. But those who were there maybe last week or so saw that I went on some gigantic rant of my sort of theories of the New World Order 1.0 and the New World Order 2.0. So to hear the president basically reference that, maybe Biden is in our Discord channel. That would explain a lot, actually.
It totally would. Yeah. The reaction online has been the most interesting thing about this. Taking a step back from everything, and it is strange that the more awareness there is publicly, the more divisive the phrase New World Order becomes. I have never seen the frenzy of people, spitting whatever.
That's
it's
like
been
our
crazy
job
online.
to see the frenzy and this unprecedented frenzy here on Canary Cry.
And it's just fascinating to see how the media has had to explain what Biden is saying here. And of course, the one thing that I wanted to point out with Biden is like, in a secure meeting, I was told, are you allowed to be talking about this stuff, Joe?
He's giving away details from a quote unquote secure meeting.
So that was the one thing that jumped out at me. But the independent.co.uk,
love it,
luckily is explaining everything for us, Basil. I don't know if I should make this point before or after reading the article, but there's something about the ownership of the independent.co.uk that makes all of this very interesting.
Just give a what are we keeping an eye out for, and then you can do the big reveal.
Yeah, just kind of the Ukraine-Russia angle on things, I suppose.
Okay, all right.
So the headline here from and they don't really get into it too much here, but just kind of keep it in mind. This is a mainstream outlet in the independent.co.uk headline. What is the New World Order and why has Joe Biden caused uproar by using the phrase?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
They're gonna tell the world what the New World Order is, so they don't have to find out on some disinformation, malinformation, fake news, Russian propaganda YouTube channel.
U.S. president excites conspiracy theorists with unfortunate choice of words at White House event.
Oh, that's funny. As if he didn't purposefully use it.
He said he was told by a top military guy.
Yeah.
It's not
they're trying to make it sound like a whoopsie doodles by old man Biden.
Yeah.
Oh, give Uncle Joe a break. He didn't mean to say that.
Right. Joe Biden caused a stir Monday during a gathering of business leaders at the White House when he alluded to a coming New World Order in the wake of the Ukraine crisis, apparently not stopping to consider the awkward legacy of the phrase. Addressing the Business Roundtable CEO quarterly meeting, which included the bosses of General Motors, Apple, Amazon, Mr. Biden concluded his remarks by saying, quote, now is the time, we know the quote, we need a New World Order, we need to lead it, unite, the whole deal. The phrase quickly began trending on Twitter, with commentators wasting no time in gloating over what they saw as the president's presumably accidental invocation of a well-worn conspiracy theory claiming that an elite globalist cabal operating from the shadows is plotting to carve up the world and impose totalitarian rule. Quote, I don't want Joe Biden leading a line of Jell-O at a nursing home, let alone the world, one wrote on Twitter. Quote, the nuts who brought us lockdowns creating a new world order is terrifying. Quote, did y'all forget everything we learned in those 2012 conspiracy videos? I wonder if that includes Age of Deceit. That would be...
Of course it does.
With New World Order in the subtitle there. Fallen Angels in the New World Order. Quote, did y'all forget mass vaccination, mass surveillance, vaccine passports, and a total police state is a part of the New World Order? Spelled wrong there. But anyway. And so it went on. Another professed, apparently sincerely, quote, I believe with all my heart that Joe Biden was installed by globalists, Babylon included, to usher in the New World Order. Anyone who took the trouble to listen to Mr. Biden's speech in full would have been left in no doubt that he was referring to the shifting sands of geopolitical relations in response to Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine last month.
I love it. They're trying to make a differentiation that doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist. But I think I found the source of trying to make these distinctions, which is basically Wikipedia. We'll get to that in a moment here. Okay. The conflict has seen cities pulverized by savage siege warfare tactics. Ukrainians stage a courageous fight back, and war crimes alleged as bombs rained down on maternity hospitals, children's nurseries, shopping centers, a community theater, and even a Holocaust memorial.
Alleged.
Yeah.
You can't say that. That's not allegation on Putin. It's facts. At least that's what CNN told me.
The Independent has a link to an archived website there. The international community has, meanwhile, moved to impose punitive economic sanctions against Russia, business banks, politicians, and oligarchs. Keep that in mind. The likes of which have never been seen before, shunning the country's exports and energy as corporations seize operations, cutting it off commercially as well as diplomatically in the hope of forcing an end to the hostilities. Mr. Biden warned the CEOs assembled in Washington that Russia could retaliate with further cyber attacks against the West and use chemical weapons against Ukrainian civilians as the conflict morphs into a drawn-out war of attrition rather than the swift conquest Mr. Putin appears to have envisioned. By the way, I'm trying
to have envisioned. Remember that for later.
By the way, I'm trying to gather or draw in the Ben Shapiro audience by reading as fast as I can.
Oh, it's working. It's working. I can't wait for that commercial coming up.
All of which means the balance of power between nations will inevitably be upended as the world seeks to reorder diplomatic relations to exclude the Kremlin, so long as Mr. Putin remains in charge and his war against a free democratic nation continues unchecked. That is, which is clearly what the U.S. president was referring to.
Unchecked? You mean unchecked? It's been very checked.
He just went through the things that they've checked. And then he goes,
yeah, exactly.
It's unchecked. Putin is roaming free on his horseback.
Why won't anybody do anything about this? Somebody sanction this guy, why don't you?
Now, this is where I think this guy, all he did was go to Wiki and start cutting and pasting. Historically, the phrase New World Order has been common currency and used in much the same way as Mr. Biden by the likes of Woodrow Wilson and Sir Winston Churchill in the aftermath of the First and Second World Wars, respectively, and more recently by George H.W. Bush in response to the collapse of the Soviet Union. Okay, let me pause for a second there because if you go look up New World Order, just kind of do a search on Google or whatever, you're going to find a couple different, especially on Wiki. So on Wikipedia, there's a New World Order parenthetical politics, and there's also a New World Order parenthetical conspiracy theory. They present it as two different things. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you read,
it's a very effective psyop.
It is, and it says here at the top of the politics version of the New World Order, the term New World Order refers to a new period of history, evidencing dramatic change in world political thought and the balance of power in international relations. Despite varied interpretations of this term, it is primarily associated with the ideological notion of world governance only in the sense of new collective efforts to identify, understand, or address global problems that go beyond the capacity of individual nation states to solve.
And that was the conspiracy theory one.
No, that's politics. I should have done a blind test, right?
No. That's what I was kind of joking.
Yeah,
I know, but I mean, it sounds. I mean, that is what the conspiracy theory one is.
Oh, they make it a little more dramatic for the actual conspiracy one.
I'm sure they do.
But before we do, since the article, The Independent brought up Woodrow Wilson here, let me just mention the phrase New World Order or similar language was used in the period toward the end of the First World War in relation to Woodrow Wilson's vision for international peace. Now,
giving him the credit for the vision,
him kind of the credit.
That's funny.
Yeah. So historical usage down here, still on politics, the phrase New World Order was explicitly used in connection with Woodrow Wilson's global zeitgeist during the period just after World War I during the formation of the League of Nations. After the war, before we move on, Woodrow Wilson is the man who signed the Federal Reserve Act into law.
Arguably the worst president we've ever had. Like the most destructive to the average middle-class American.
If we're talking about the New World Order, part of it is like the one world economic system and trying to build that out, right?
Fiat, the economic control, everything. I mean, the whole... That is part of it.
He's the guy that brought central banking to the United States, and he's talking about the New World Order.
Exactly.
Like a world system. So, okay, all right, not a conspiracy theory. You're right, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's fact.
That's what we're saying.
I know but they're saying it's just politics. It's not real, stuff.
They are good at their jobs.
Here's a little tidbit that's funny that's in this wiki thing. After the war, Wilson argued for a new world order which transcended traditional great power politics, instead emphasizing collective security, democracy, and self-determination. However, the United States Senate rejected membership of the League of Nations, which Wilson believed to be the key to a new world order. Senator Harry Cabot Lodge argued that American policy should be based on human nature, quote, as it is, not as it ought to be. Nazi activist and future German leader Adolf Hitler also used the term.
That's interesting.
That concept of like, hey, we should be governing as human nature is, not as it ought to be. That's a very nuanced argument that would not fly today. Like, nobody would listen to this senator today if he made that argument against the New World Order. They'd be like, what are you talking? No, you're bad. You're a white supremacist.
I'm not even sure if I fully understand. That was that was the case for or against the New World Order?
Against. The senator pushed back against Wilson's New World Order concept and said, hey, we shouldn't be governing based on this ideal.
Which is interesting because it is the implication. The implication is that this New World Order that he was arguing against was based on something besides humanity.
Right.
Something besides modern ideals or modern worldviews, that there was something higher or a different source or a futuristic vision of what, there's some instruction included there, as if it was sort of handed down from, I don't know, aliens or...
Oh, we'll get to that too.
Or whatever. Yeah.
It's definitely part of the rant. So, later it talks about how, the New World Order, the phrase was used in post-World War II to create international institutions, including the UN, NATO, Bretton Woods, the IMF, the International Bank of Reconstruction and Development, blah, 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 blah.
The whole power
structure.
Team.
So, most stuff that people that talk about the New World Order talk about. So what's the difference in the conspiracy theory definition? Well, in their wiki, they say New World Order is a conspiracy theory which hypothesizes a secretly emerging totalitarian world government.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait, read that one more time.
A New World Order is a conspiracy theory which hypothesizes a secretly emerging totalitarian world government. So they're saying, the conspiracy theory is that it's secret.
I was going to say, it depends on that whole, the entire difference between Wikipedia's real New World Order and their conspiracy theory New World Order is the definition of secret.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only difference.
But here's a little more interesting in terms of labeling perhaps us, Basil, you and I, and many of our people listening or watching. Before the early 1990s, New World Order conspiracism was limited to two American countercultures, primarily the military anti-government right, and secondarily, the part of fundamentalist Christianity concerned with the end times emergence of the Antichrist.
Oh, interesting.
Skeptics such as Michael Barkin and Chip Burlett observed that right-wing populist conspiracy theories about a New World Order had not only been embraced by many seekers of stigmatized knowledge, but had seeped into popular culture, thereby inaugurating a period during the late 20th and early 21st centuries in the United States where people are actively preparing for apocalyptic can't say this word, millenarian scenarios. Those political scientists are concerned that mass hysteria over New World Order conspiracy theories could eventually have devastating effects on American political life, ranging from escalating lone wolf terrorism to the rise to power of authoritarian ultra-nationalist demagogues.
Yeah. I want to see when the Wikipedia article was updated for this. I'm going to guess that it's been updated recently and some very convenient, allusions being made here to recent events.
I will say, though, that concept, what was it called? The Armageddon what was it called? There's some Armageddon papers or something like that the FBI had in 1999 that sort of outlined the apocalyptic, end times groups that can turn violent and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So anyway, I thought the contrast was very interesting. And again, it's funny because history of the term, this is conspiracy theory now. During the 20th century, political figures such as Woodrow Wilson and Winston Churchill used the term. They're giving the same information.
It is just copied and pasted.
It's copy and paste, and the Independent basically did a copy and paste themselves.
That's funny. I mean, you just consider the concept of control of information, where a core principle of the control of information that we are all experiencing 24/7 now, and thankfully people are more aware of now, that the information by the time it gets to you has been filtered so many times and not filtered a certain other amount of times, but more or less just repeated from a source, repeated over and over. And that's where the devastating lack of critical thinking is affecting our mass media sort of infrastructure, empire, whatever you want to call it, control mechanisms. And we're seeing it live on Wikipedia. Wikipedia making it from an editor of Wikipedia, which, keep in mind, are not professionals.
No.
Anybody can become an editor at Wikipedia. And so you've got some guy who, and speaking of which, of course, the intelligence agencies have a lot invested in having some Wikipedia editors in their offices to help control the information. So you've got probably some editor, either somebody who's trying to set the record straight on the New World Order, or perhaps even an intelligence worker editing the Wikipedia pages. Okay, that's a source. And then you've got the mainstream media copying and pasting from Wikipedia, which is a brilliant roadmap on how to disseminate possibly government mediated information straight to the public without having to sort of officially admit that there's a state-run, flow of information. Yeah. It's a beautiful system, really.
Yeah. Before I go
I do real quick before you do that too. I want to give a shout out to downtown Montreal. Apparently, we are on a very loud speaker in downtown Montreal right now. So if you're in Montreal, hey everybody, you're listening to Canary Cry News Talk, your new favorite podcast dedicated to corporate news media analysis and deconstruction. Just search Canary Cry News Talk anywhere you go. You'll find all our stuff. And thank you to our person in Montreal downtown blasting it on a speaker.
Sounds good. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
In our little show notes document there, Basil, there's a little link where it says independent.co.uk. It's hyperlinked. Do you want to go ahead and click on that real quick?
Sorry, I'm not in it. Give me a second.
Okay.
So you mean in the article that you're reading right now?
No. I'm talking about our document.
Our document. I'm here.
Okay, where it says independent.co.uk. It's hyperlinked.
I'm looking at it. Okay, yeah.
I'm
going to click on it.
Mm-hmm.
Here I go.
All right.
Takes me to wikipedia.org /The Independent. Yeah.
Go down to and read that second paragraph there.
Second paragraph. Here we go. The Wikipedia entry for The Independent. That's the independent.co. Yes. Independent.co.uk. The newspaper was controlled by Tony O'Reilly's Irish Independent News and Media from 1997 until it was sold to Okay. The independent.co.uk, the news outlet that just copied and pasted from Wikipedia, checking their Wikipedia reads like this. The newspaper was controlled by Tony O'Reilly's Irish Independent News and Media from 1997 until it was sold to the Russian oligarch and former KGB officer Alexander Lebedev in 2010. Wow. In 2017, Sultan Muhammad Abdullah Jalal bought a 30% stake. Oh my gosh. So the Independent is owned by a Russian oligarch, former KGB officer, and Sultan Muhammad Abadjadayel owns 30%. Holy smokes!
Isn't that crazy? And then if you go to that right column where where it shows the owner's current or whatever, it shows his son Evgeny Lebedev. He owns 41% stake, the biggest stake in the Independent. Now, my whole thing is
the Independent is literally Russian controlled. KGB owned
UK news outlet.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And
wow.
I'm wondering if this is because no one's talking about this. No one. No. I mean, the Independent's not super big, but they're big.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's going to be a cutoff where these other guys, the Sultan and Justin Shaw, these other minority stakeholders are going to chop off that 41% from this guy.
Yeah,
and,
or they're taking all the oligarchs' yachts and villas and stuff. Are they going to take the newspaper?
Right.
This would be a great opportunity for the British government to seize the newspaper ownership from the Russian oligarch, again transforming the Independent into state-run, British media. Holy smokes, that is hilarious.
I was floored. I wasn't sure I was reading correctly, but yeah, it looks like it's true.
The other side of it, yes. And so just for context, these Russian oligarchs, they're not oligarchs because they're good at business or something. They're Russian oligarchs because they made deals with Putin. Putin made them who they are. Yeah. And they get to be oligarchs because of their allegiance to Putin. And of course, Putin is a KGB guy. This, what is his name? Alexander Lebedev is a KGB guy. Yeah, it's all wrapped up. We read the breakdown of the collapse of Vladimir Putin's empire of misinformation and how the mainstream was talking about, he's no longer a puppet master of disinfo. His empire has fallen. And yet the independent.co.uk seems to still be thriving pretty well. And all signs point to it being a direct propaganda outlet for Russia. Well, how have I never heard this before? Why are the ladies on The View not talking about this?
That's a good point. Well, a UK outlet. I don't know if
they care.
They care too much. But it says here, political alignment is liberalism, social liberalism. So a bunch of liberals. They're like, whatever, as long as they're taking our side.
Where is this Sultan from? Who is this Sultan? Is this a Saudi?
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Let's look it up because it could be anybody. I don't really know. Let's do a little copy paste Arunski. While we're already on Wikipedia, we might as well see what.
Yeah, it's
Wikipedia.
Saudi.
Is it Saudi?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, good find, Gonz. Holy smokes.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's a good one. So part of what I wanted to sort of land the plane on the New World Order thing, just to reiterate some points that I think people maybe new to the show hadn't heard before, some of what were premised.
Or perhaps you're just walking down the street in Montreal right now and some loudspeaker is playing.
About to hear some crazy stuff. So yes, the phrase New World Order is not new. It's very old.
Yeah, which is the point.
It is the point. Now, there is a document written by an occultist named Alice Bailey. She was an early 20th century occultist. She wrote several things, most popularly The Externalization of the Hierarchy, which she published in, I think it was like sometime in the 30s or maybe 1940 was one of the later editions.
It was during the peak of spiritualism.
Yes.
Where sort of occultism was very popular in the U.S. And other places. And these occultists were very highly regarded amongst the spiritualists in governments around the world.
Right. And Alice Bailey started a publishing company called Lucius Trust, which was originally called Lucifer Magazine. A little, maybe a little pulling back on the reins there. It wasn't going to really appeal to those filthy Christians. So in this document from 1940, there is a page, April 1940, The Coming World Order. And she talks all about the New World Order here. And keeping in mind, Alice Bailey claims that she did not write this. She claims that Deja Kul, a spiritual entity, the higher being, channeled through her and wrote down these instructions for a new world order. There's a whole segment on it, and I won't read it necessarily, but it's very much they try to include. It's a very one world religion concept. They try to include Christianity as part of this bigger world, spiritual system. Christianity, Jesus, that's just one element of this bigger thing.
Right.
That's what they try to phrase it as. And there's a segment literally titled "Steps Towards the New World Order." Remember, this is 1930s. She's getting this. She's writing it down. And let me just read this one part here. In contradistinction to the totalitarian world order, what would the rest of the world plan? Towards what world objectives should the democracies work? Utopian schemes, idealistic forms of government, and cultural living processes have ever been the playthings of the human mind down through the centuries, but these utopias have been so far ahead of possibility that their presentation seems useless. They are, most of them, wholly impractical. So she gives us practical guidance on how to create a new world order.
Okay.
And again, let me read a couple things, because for those of you paying attention to the current climate of literally climate change and the Great Reset and commodities and all that stuff, this will sound familiar. The New World Order must meet the immediate need and not be an attempt to satisfy some distant idealistic vision. Okay, the New World Order must be appropriate to a world which has passed through a destructive crisis and to a humanity which is badly shattered by the experience. Wow. Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's always been sort of part of the colloquial conversation about the New World Order was that, you need a crisis. You can't usher it in without a crisis. And we've seen crisis after crisis over the last 80 years since this was written. And every crisis has objectively...
It just inched everything forward a little more. Just a little more. Just nudges a little bit. People don't notice it.
They never missed an opportunity to take one step closer to, and I love that she uses the term utopia, because it is considered a utopia to those who sort of follow it follow it as an ideology, as a goal for humanity. But I won't go on my rant about utopia, but the search for utopia has pretty much been the cause of every horrific event that humans have committed on one another. It's always in the search of utopia. So utopia is this like
the biblical view of reality.
Utopia is sort of this. It's just this like evil idea that everything would be perfect if we just do this, whatever that is.
It's interesting because that inherent desire in humans that pursuit exists proves that we are fallen. We're in the state of fallenness, and that there is some sort of conceptual ideal that the way things are supposed to be, and we don't have it, which really proves the biblical view of the fallen nature of man. So anyway, let me read a couple more, because there's one more here that I
keep
really
reading,
wanna...
and I have one question when you're done.
Okay, this is number 4. The New World Order will be founded on the recognition that all men are equal in origin and goal, but that all are at different stages of evolutionary development, that personal integrity, intelligence, vision, and experience, plus a marked goodwill should indicate leadership. The domination of the proletariat over the aristocracy and bourgeoisie, as in Russia... or the domination of an entrenched aristocracy over the proletariat and middle class, as has been until lately the case in Great Britain, must disappear. The control of labor by capital, or the control of capital by labor, must also go. And then they get into natural resources. She gets into the natural resources, literally saying that, and this is a sentiment that we will touch on later in the show, because there's a bunch of stuff with the ESG, climate change, Great Reset thing that's happening. Number 8, the New World Order will recognize that the produce of the world, the natural resources of the planet and its riches, belong to no one nation, but should be shared by all. There will be no nation under the category haves and others under the opposite category. A fair and properly organized distribution of the wheat, the oil, and the mineral wealth of the world will be developed based upon the needs of each nation, upon its own internal resources and requirements of its people. All this will be worked out in relation to the whole. So, again, it's almost like they're reading, the people now, like the Zelenskys and stuff are reading this and they're like, Putin's against all this stuff. We must destroy him.
Interesting how the sort of original writings about the New World Order are like directly reference Russia as an
Isn't
enemy
that
of the New World
crazy?
Order. It's like built into the concept.
Yeah,
is an
it's built into the
there's like-
playbook.
there's like a Russophobia built into the very idea of a New World Order. So no wonder Putin's not a big fan.
Right.
Now, here's my question for you. In the Wikipedia entries for either conspiracy theory or politic version of New World Order, do they ever mention that the original idea comes from a famous occult spiritualist from the early 20th century?
No, specifically because I don't know that Helena Blavatsky, who's the founder of Theosophy, who Alice Bailey got a lot of her inspiration from. I don't know that she used the exact phrase "New World Order." She may have. I don't remember. But she definitely talked about these issues. So
I'm talking about Alice Bailey.
Alice Bailey is not mentioned, I don't think, in either one of these articles.
Okay, there we go. That was the question. So yes, whoever is editing and writing the Wikipedia articles,
I'm wrong.
Are they in there?
Conspiracy theory. Yeah, it's
in the
here.
conspiracy theory one. Okay,
British neo-theosophical occultist Alice Bailey.
There it is. Okay, so that's conspiracy theory.
It's conspiracy theory.
That's the book. Wait, what is the conspiracy?
Okay,
how is that conspiracy theory? I mean, she did exist, and she did write the book, and she did influence global leaders. So,
there's not really an
it was
argument
a
against
rhetorical question, really.
Sure. I mean, they say here, skeptics argue that the connection of conspiracy theorists and occultists follows from their common fallacious premises. First, any widely accepted belief must necessarily be false.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay, I'll argue against that. Yeah. So they bring it up, and they.
How can they not? This is well known, too public to really hide.
Too much, right? Yeah. But of course, in the politics section, it's just like it's a good idea. Woodrow Wilson had. On his own.
The guy who started central banks in America.
Yeah, just happened to come up with the idea himself for a New World Order.
Should we hear what Ben Shapiro has to say about Ukraine?
Let's save that for later. Let's save that before the break.
Okay. Right.
Oh no, you're right. You mean
we're kind of at the break.
You're right. Let's move that Putin one down somewhere. Actually, no. Let me just mention this real quick. I'll be very fast. Yeah. Okay. So we spent a bunch of time giving a wonderful review, or Gonz gave a wonderful review of the New World Order and its sort of expressions in modern media,
contemporary milieu.
Yes, contemporary milieu and information flow. I'm realizing the link that I put in here was a Washington Post link that they want us to pay for, and I'm not going to pay
I have it here.
for it. You have
it's not giving me a
version?
paywall. So I can take a look at it.
Well, why don't you start reading it while I get the archived version? And this is a very fascinating article that came out talking about Putin from the Washington Post. And I love how the American media knows more about Putin than Putin knows about himself. And I have it up here. This is in the opinion section of the Washington Post by Charles Lane. Okay, Charles Lane. The headline: Putin says everything is going according to plan. He might not be lying. Ooh. Okay.
I like the premise that every word that comes out of his mouth is a lie.
Yeah, I thought we're supposed to think that Putin is just a liar and doesn't. But okay, all right. He's here we go. Twice since launching his war in the Ukraine on February 24th, Russian President Vladimir Putin has assured the Russian people that that his special military operation is going according to plan. He did so despite the Russian army's failure to topple the government in Kiev or to gain much territory, and despite its substantial losses. Now, it starts right off the bat with the presumption that, hey, he says it's going according to plan, and we think maybe it is going according to plan. And then they say, but he's not doing a good job, and he's failing, and things are going poorly for him and his army, which, is sort of taking the assumptive position that they think what's happening is not part of the plan. So you've got, this is just a very basic version of conspiratorial thinking. So we have a conspiracy theory being propagated by the Washington Post. But let's keep going. After his most recent such claim on March 16th, reactions in the West range from disgust at his blatant lying to speculation over his possible insanity. And that was a fun part of, the reaction to that is, he may or may not be telling the truth. I don't know. Apparently Charles knows, but I don't know. But we certainly were led to believe that he was not telling the truth. Either he's lying or he's insane. But what if the plan for short-term military success in Ukraine is not the one or the only one Putin has in mind? What if he is alluding to something more ambitious, of which war in Ukraine is just a part? Putin has made it repeatedly and abundantly clear that he seeks disruption of a post-Cold War global order that he regards not as a...
I thought that was a conspiracy. We were just told this whole idea of a global world order was a conspiracy theory. Okay.
Washington Post. Putin has made it repeatedly and abundantly clear that he seeks disruption of a post-Cold War global order that he regards not as a reflection of neutral political and legal principles. That's what I was mentioning earlier. That was sort of at least the public-facing PR description of the New World Order in the 20th century. It was like, okay, no, we're just neutral. Everything's political and legal. There's no ambitions. There's no, psychopaths. There's nothing like that. We all follow the rules. But a self-serving construct of the United States. And doesn't that sound more reasonable to you, Gonz, that this whole, version of the, quote, global order, you just look at the evidence. Who has benefited the most since the mid-20th century? Of course, it's the U.S. And the U.S. is controlling everything. And it's a self-serving construct of the U.S. So, again, Washington Post, I love it, man. To Putin... but by the way, this is what Putin sees it as. This is Putin's insane ramblings, is that somehow this global order is self-serving construct of the United States. What a crazy idea, Putin, that the U.S. sort of constructed a world order to benefit itself. Wow. What a lunatic this guy is. To Putin, the empire of lies, as he calls the United States, mocking the evil empire phrase with which President Ronald Reagan delegitimized the USSR. Again, we can call them an evil empire, but they can't call us an evil empire. Did not win the Cold War on its merits, but rather because of feckless Soviet leaders who lost the will to fight. Drunk on triumphalism, as Putin tells it, the United States proved its hypocrisy by using military force without authorization from the United Nations in places such as Kosovo and Iraq. Okay, Gonz, drunk on triumphalism, Putin's lunatic ramblings says that the U.S. is hypocritical and uses military force without authorization of the rest of the world in places like Kosovo and Iraq. And I'd also argue Libya and Syria and Afghanistan and all sorts of places. But no, you can't. This is just a crazy ramblings of a madman, not sort of the actual truth of what the U.S. has been doing.
Yeah, Charles Lane is the author of this article. I'd like to ask him if those allegations are true or not.
He's literally, that's exactly the point. He's telling the truth. But he's telling the truth in the context of this is what lunatic Putin thinks. And so if you think that the U.S. has overstepped its boundaries and created a global order that is self-serving and, makes rules for others but doesn't follow them themselves, then you are a Putinite. It is the ultimate sort of switcheroonsky on who controls the truth. If you believe that the U.S. has not been an angel for the past 80 years, then you are a Putinite, you're a Russian asset, you're a blah, blah, blah. So that gets across the main points of this article. It goes on much, much more to say kind of the same thing over and over. But it's this beautiful reference to the New World Order how Putin doesn't like the New World Order that was started in the mid-20th century, and how the U.S. benefited more than anybody else about the New World Order and didn't follow the rules ourselves. And, if you agree with any of that, then you're a Russian asset. And according to Whoopi Goldberg on The View, you should be arrested. So thank you, Washington Post. Love the news. Love the news being put out over there. Now, it is just an opinion piece, Gonz. So
yeah, sure.
There's some plausible deniability. And I just thought it was a great connection to your New World Order breakdown and what's happening today. And if you not just in Ukraine, but knowing that Alice Bailey explicitly made Russia an enemy of the New World Order back in the 40s.
30s.
30s. Sorry,
not Alice Bailey. The spiritual entity, the higher form of consciousness that gave her the knowledge.
The channeled illuminated master.
Like, Putin needs to go down like 80 years ago.
And here we go. The Washington Post, arguably the Washington Post opinion section, our own modern version of channeling some entity to bring us the truth.
Seriously.
Is towing the exact line that Putin is an enemy of the New World Order and that the U.S. is some sort of saintly figure.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful parallel. History might not repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate the exposition that Charles Lane gave us here at the Washington Post.
Let me just mention before we move on real briefly, if you go to the show notes of last episode in the additional stories section, I did have a link to the globalresearch.ca website where they have a really long article here, and it's titled, "The U.S. has killed more than 20 million people in 37 quote-unquote victim nations since World War II," and they kind of document a lot of that. So, just something to look into. And it's just kind of facts, it's the ugly underbelly of the U.S. or any nation. There's not a perfect nation. That's why, that's kind of why we're, it's not the reason why we're believers, Basil, but there's part of an understanding of what's happening and why the kingdom of heaven is an important thing.
Makes a lot more sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Well, Gonz, you know what time it is?
What is it? What time is it?
Well, I accidentally said time, and I meant to say day, baby.
Okay. Yeah, because it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. Time for the CanaryCry News Talk.
That's right. It's Wednesday. We're here. We're having fun, and we're already behind on time. I have nothing personal to say, Gonz, and I think we can just skip directly to thanking our producer, our executive producer, rather.
Executive producers.
Here we go.
That's right. Folks, you may notice no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever involved in the broadcast that you are listening to now. But we do have a special report, an example of someone who, has a similar, position in the world. Not even similar, certainly more important than us, Gonz. But just to give an example of the difference between how we run this show and how some other famous individuals might be running their show. Keep in mind, folks, we're on the value for value model, which means we create value. We do it 3 times a week. And if you get any value out of it, you are invited to join the resistance, to raise a rebel fist in the air and tell the corporations who benefit and control media most easily and most blatantly through the advertising industry. When independent media like us take advertising dollars to help spread the good news of whatever, new gadgets, new product that you probably don't need and, need to give your hard-earned money that you probably don't have in order to obtain some sort of happiness in this life. Well, that is your independent media going ahead and selling your mind, your trust, your attention, your eyeballs, and your ears for their own personal gain to some, corporate lizard people who will want to harness the authenticity or harness the radical nature of independent media in order to maintain some sort of financial control. But not here. Here, we are entirely funded by our producers. And producers are listeners just like you who have decided to join the movement, to take personal responsibility for the continuation of true independent media, completely disconnected from corporate incentives and corporate control. But Gonz, before that, we do have a word from our sponsor, Ben Shapiro.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. This is a little clip from the Daily Wire.
Last week, a Mariupol theater sheltering hundreds of people was reduced to trouble. The word children was written in huge letters on the pavement there, clearly visible from the air. Even now, the fates of most of those people remain unknown.
Oh, boy.
So that is the current status of the war in Ukraine. All of this is enough to spoil anybody's sleep. But here's the thing. You don't need to have your sleep spoiled by bad sheets. If you get a sheet with a high thread count, you think that you've done a great job. Wrong.
Wow.
Masterfully done again. Ben Shapiro bringing the truth and just an incredible mastery of shifting from talking about babies getting bombed in Ukraine, but don't let that let you lose sleep, folks, because you got to get new sheets from Olin Branch. It's just an incredible display of exactly what we're talking about here. I mean, look, he's an interesting figure, a complicated figure. Some people like him, some people don't. But his sort of otherworldly ability to seamlessly transition from talking about dead babies in Ukraine and how they might be losing sleep because of all these bombs going off. But you don't have to lose sleep, folks. Go buy these sheets is truly incredible. And I mean this when I say it. An excellent example of the literal evils of the advertising industry, where they are able to not just encourage an independent news person to commit this sort of heinous crime, but also praise him. I mean, this, by the standards of the broadcasting and advertising industry, this was an excellent ad buy on Ben Shapiro's show here. And what we might see as some sort of twisted melancholia display of some true darkness in the world is actually praised and paid for by your corporate overlords. But we don't do it here, folks. We're on the value for value model. So if you appreciate what we're doing and you don't want us to have to rely on such ludicrous displays of madness to support this show, please consider becoming a producer. You can do that by heading on over to CanaryCry.radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Support.
Oh, wow. A little edit there, huh? Yes, we are trying to shift to our new URL, CanaryCry.Support. Go check it out. But along those lines, Gonz, we do have an executive producer here to thank at the top of the show.
Very cool. I already played the intro executive producer jingle, so why don't we just name him?
Yeah,
Who is it?
Let's do it. We're here, folks. We're here to name names. This is the fella who was the most ambitious and generous producer today, and that is executive producer Kyle C.
Thank you, Kyle C. For your executive producership.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. Thank you so much, Kyle C., for coming in, executive producing. And we'll be thanking more producers in our first break. But we still got some time before that. So everybody say a little prayer and thank God for Kyle C. for helping this show continue.
All right.
Oh, you know who else helps this show continue? It's Flippy.
It is. Hold on. Give me one moment. Here it is.
Oh.
It's Flippy. Sorry, I was not prepared for this.
No worries.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Oh,
That's right.
Destroyed my ears.
It's a little hot.
Little hot on my end.
Little hot.
Sorry about that.
Okay. All right, everybody. It's time for the FLIPPY update. If you don't know, FLIPPY is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about FLIPPY as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways the robots are taking over the world, and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, this FLIPPY update is coming from medicaltubingandextrusion.com. medicaltubingandextrusion.com. Folks, if you ever thought that we just go to the same watering hole every week for a FLIPPY update, you are wrong. Have you ever been to medicaltubingandextrusion.com? Didn't think so. That's why you listen to the show. The headline is, "This tentacle-like magnet robot could navigate the lungs." Ooh, sorry, other human lung worms. FLIPPY is coming for your jobs. Engineers at the University of Leeds have developed a magnetic tentacle robot to pass through the narrow tubes of the lungs. Scientists and engineers at the university made a proof of concept for a robotic device that can reach the smallest bronchial tubes to take tissue samples and deliver cancer therapy. The Tentacles robot has a diameter of 2 millimeters, about twice the size of a ballpoint pen's tip. Magnets outside a patient's body guide the tentacle robot into place. The proof of concept was based on laboratory tests with a 3D replica of a bronchial tree modeled from anatomical data. The researchers plan to further investigate the effectiveness of the device in imagining lungs, navigating lungs from a cadaver. Scientists and clinicians in the Storm Lab at the university said the device could change the use of robotic systems in assisting endoscopy and catheter procedures where a fine tube needs to be inserted into the body. Ugh.
Yeah, gosh.
They present this robot as a little robot that can slither around in your lungs, and then just quietly sort of drop the detail that catheter procedures. No longer do you need a human touch to put in your catheter. Now you let a little robotic magnet robot snake.
You know what's funny? As I was kind of clicking through, looking for stuff,
what's funny
I'm
about
explaining it right now.
Please help me find the humor, Gonz. It's hurting me.
Yeah, the thought is hurting me too. I'm not looking forward to that. But as I was doing, there was an ad for a catheter, like somewhere along the lines of looking at these stories, and the name of the company was Zeus. And I was thinking, oh, great, Zeus, yeah. getting all into
the lightning bolt hurling.
Just gosh,
yeah. We don't need catheters happening, or anything to do with that. So that's the long and short of it. I mean, I don't know if there's too much more that we can pontificate on, but again, as we discuss the various and diverse ways that robots not only are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses, but also on a mission to eliminate the human touch altogether. Yeah. And this might be a good one, might be a bad one, but the idea of a slithering, writhing, magnetically controlled robot snake doing something that, I've never had one, but I got to imagine that a gentle human touch is an important part of catheters of all shapes and sizes. But you know what? No more steady hands of your trained health professional. Instead, we'll let what can only be described as some sort of robotic demon controlled by invisible forces around your body slither on up in there and take care of it for you.
Here's a journal you can subscribe to, Basil, for research purposes. Soft Robotics. Soro. S-O-R-O.
Oh, I am all very familiar with Soro.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I know. We've yes, I spend so much time looking at soft, cuddly little robots.
I'm waiting for the soft, the George Soro, Like a soft, squishy version of Soros that hugs you.
Yeah, that slithers around. Like central bank
central
systems.
bank connected.
Yes, and kind of schlorps around, controlled by unseen forces through the pipes and the tubes of central banking and arbitrage in order to do whatever he's trying to do. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Okay. So there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day.
All right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Go to CanaryCry.Party because it's a party over here. Find the live stream, email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, and ways to connect with other Canarians and become a producer.
Welcome to CanaryCry.Party. It's the place you want to be. So say, welcome to CanaryCry. Gameplay, CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. Check it out. If you're getting lonely in between episodes of the show, you can go to CanaryCry.Party. Get connected with the community, find some cool resources, hang up some street team flyers, all sorts of fun stuff over there, just waiting for your attention. Now, I do want to take an opportunity real quick to let you know about a podcast that I do, a little side project here, but one no less valuable than this one. It's called Ravel. It's a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates. He's a PhD in biblical interpretation, and we talk about smart stuff, scripture, society, and scandal. If you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, you should go check us out. Ravel on any podcast player. We had a late post this week, but we just posted an episode in our Artist On series called Creating Spaces with Margaret Daniel, and she is an interior designer and writer, and we talk about interior design in the context of not just the sort of human experience, but also spirituality, how it's used to control populations, how it can be used poorly for sort of domination of the mind and the body, or it can be used in significantly better ways. And if you, for 1 second, think that we did not comb through the texts of Scripture for where interior design is important, not only to the people in the ancient biblical world, but also to God himself, you will be pleasantly surprised. Go listen to the episode. It's cool. There you go. Ravel on any podcast player. Remember, there's 2 Ravel podcasts. They stole our name. The one I have has my name on it as well, Ravel, and it's the one with the cool logo, not the bad logo. Go check it out. And other than that, I do want to remind you about Canary Cry Clips, the Canary Cry Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. You can find clipped out portions of the show, easy to share, easy to care. Share it with your friends if you want to share some of the information we talk about, but are a little intimidated to invite them to listen to a 3.5-hour podcast filled with, things that might be too much for them. But it's a great way to start. Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Check it out.
The COVID-19 crisis would be seen as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber pandemic.
Climate change. Wait, what?
What?
I played the wrong jingle.
We need a great reset.
Learn to use the dark side of the Force.
Yeah, we're talking about the Great Reset, and we're talking about climate change.
There we go.
Which,
we got to have a climate change jingle,
we
don't we?
We do. Yeah, we do, but it's kind of...
Climate change.
Okay.
It can be better, is all I'm saying. It's Bill Gates saying climate change, so...
I mean, it's a great clip. We could use like a Greta Gates like full banger, as Jonathan would put it, rump rattling,
yeah,
banger, yeah. So we'll put that out there. We'll see if anything comes back to us.
This is Yahoo News mirroring the news. The headline here is "Celebrate World Water Day by committing to water stewardship." right there on 322 day there. The United Nations,
the Skull and Bones Day.
Yes, which was yesterday. The United Nations established World Water Day in 1993 in order to have a dedicated, internationally recognized and recurrent occasion to celebrate the importance of water. Now, keep in mind,
seems innocent enough.
Yeah, and remember the Alice Bailey thing we read earlier. This celebration aims to embrace and highlight the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Agenda for 2030. In particular, the goal of availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Yay! And it goes into some stuff here. Water is a regional source. It goes into like, hey, everybody needs to work on, basically Alice Bailey's exact thing. Like, it's based on personal resources of nations and blah, blah, blah. And it says here, I highlighted some stuff here. The single most important concept for government and industries to understand as they are crafting water stewardship strategies is that water is a regional resource.
That's opposite of what we are supposed to be thinking, right? The New World Order is supposed to be resources don't belong to the region in which they exist, that they belong to humanity as a whole. But suddenly
the responsibility of distribution, I think, is what they're saying.
Oh, so each of our local regions is responsible for sending our water away from us.
So you're a bad person, you're a bad nation if you're not sharing with everybody else.
I get it.
And then this is great. This is right on. There's a little subsection or subheading here. Stakeholders in water sustainability. To your point, Basil, when we've talked about stakeholder capitalism, let's see what they say here. Quote, the human relationship with water goes beyond access to potable water and sanitation. Water holds cultural and religious significance for people all over the world. It is celebrated in songs, dances, and rituals because we all understand as a civilization that water is important to our survival. That's Janina da Silva.
That is not lost on me.
Yeah, project coordinator. Due to our existential dependence on daily access to water, everyone on the planet is a stakeholder in sustainable water management. Everybody on the planet, Basil. You and I, we are stakeholders in sustainable water management.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
But there are definitely some people on this planet I do not want in control of my water.
Like George Bush Jr.?
That's just to name one. Yeah.
Has a bunch of freshwater
water
land.
rights.
Yeah. Some organizational units, such as governments and large industries, have an outsized influence. Yes. And large industries have an outsized influence on the cleanliness and accessibility of water. The UN has determined that access to water is a human right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I ain't going to argue with them.
I think the implementation of you're a bad person and you're not part of the world system if you hoard water is sort of thing. And part of it is to surveil water. I think that's going to become more of a thing. They want to surveil everything. And as part of that,
Sorry, you disappeared for a second for me.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Yeah. But can you just say that real quick? Because it was bringing up a thought for me.
I was just going to say that this has to do with surveilling all the water and all the water we drink and process and everything.
Control.
Literally control every molecule of water. To have every molecule of water, accounted for in some kind of database or something.
And here's the thing. Here's the trick. And this is the trick of all of these types of movements. It's the trick with climate change. It's the trick with ESG. It's the trick with social justice. It's the trick with electric vehicles, oil usage. It's this, you make a statement that sounds nice. It sounds
you can't disagree with it because it's like a generic.
Yeah. It sounds like cooperative, it sounds like, hey, we're all responsible, right? But what that does is it puts you in a position where you are considered responsible, which opens up you to regulation and control, where when you really don't have any control over the water. I mean, it's nice. It's a beautiful sentiment that like, oh, together we can all, take responsibility for our planet's water. But in all practicality, I have no control over the water in my town. I have no control over the water, whatever. It's a rhetorical sort of fairy tale. And what this rhetorical fairy tale is meant to do is to convince you, dear regular citizen, who has no real power over the water in your life, that you are open to control, open to regulation, that you must agree to participate in some sort of sharing of responsibility, which does one thing. It decentralizes responsibility away from the corporations and governments who are actually in control and using that control. It is a diversionary tactic.
Yeah, they've created us. Everybody else is the scapegoat.
Sounds
potential
fluffy.
Scapegoat.
Yeah, sounds fluffy. Sounds nice. Sounds like a utopia. But in reality, it is letting the people who are really responsible off the hook and able to shift all the blame onto the public at large. It's a trick. Don't fall for it in any context, really.
Yeah. Let me just touch on this as well, because along with that, Thomson Reuters Foundation put out an opinion piece.
Oh, good.
And it is titled "Opinion: The World Needs a New Water Agenda."
Okay. Yeah, they just have some sort of auto generator for the titles of this rhetoric, don't they?
I love it. It's just so funny. For major floods in Germany and China last year and Eastern Australia this year to ongoing and prolonged droughts across North and East Africa, the world is confronting a new climate change-induced water reality. As the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change recently reported, the world is not doing nearly enough to bolster defenses to risks and stresses caused by floods, droughts, sea level rises, and glacial melt. And the window for action will close if warming beyond 1.5 Celsius outstrips capacities to adapt. So it's the same narrative. I don't want to really get into it because it's about energy. It's about all this stuff. I thought there was a spot here. Maybe it was a different article, but it was, they mentioned the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Right. Thomson Reuters, wasn't that Rothschild?
He's in the club.
Yeah, definitely in the club, towing the line and pushing and so
the Klaus Schwab fan club.
Yeah, so that's all part of it.
I did forget to mention that in the Putin part, his master plan and how it's remember, Putin was one of the World Economic Forum's young global leaders.
Right.
That's where I fit in. Wow. Okay.
Do you want to touch on this aviation thing? You want me to?
The aviation thing.
Because we're going from water to air now.
Why don't you just keep flying through it?
Okay, so this is aviationpros.com. The headline here is Jet Aviation signs World Economic Forum's Clean Skies for Tomorrow 2030 ambition statement.
Good. I love it when they state their ambitions.
Yeah. And it says here that Basil, March 22nd, on 322, Jet Aviation announced today that it has signed the World Economic Forum's 2030 ambition statement, Clean Skies for Tomorrow, designed to gain state, industry, and public support to help accelerate production and adoption of sustainable aviation fuel. SAF, Clean Skies for Tomorrow, strives to see SAF constitute 10% of the global fuel supply by 2030. Now listen to this.
Okay.
By signing WEF's Clean Skies for Tomorrow 2030 ambition statement, Jet Aviation joins a community of some 100 stakeholders across the aviation value chain dedicated to supporting the transition to net zero aviation, committing to 10% SAF by 2030. Quote, Jet Aviation believes collaboration is one of the best ways to bring in innovative solutions to life, and we are delighted to partner with WEF and other industry stakeholders to help increase the global supply of sustainable aviation fuel.
Yeah, I love it. Again, don't let them fool you. This World Economic Forum, Great Reset, stakeholder capitalism. They've been talking about this. We've been talking about it since 2016. The stakeholders, just to make a comparison, they use the word stakeholders to describe in the last article about water,
right?
They use the word stakeholders to describe everybody.
Everybody is a
We're
stakeholder.
all responsible, but
which is a lie.
Yes, which this is much, and that was just some woman. That wasn't like an official. That was like what was she? She was like a activist or something, using the term stakeholder in some sort of utopian way. The actual World Economic Forum, stakeholder capitalism. Stakeholders are corporations. They're talking about global governance under the control of corporations instead of governments. And so, when they say we have 100 stakeholders, going to make the skies more clean, they're talking about the aviation fuel corporations. The ones who are almost, that hold a incredibly large majority for the use of petroleum products and the burning of such products to pump the sky filled with that evil carbon that they hate so much. No. Now suddenly these are the good guys who are going to replace the government and save the world.
It's pretty crazy.
It's great.
It's crazy.
Great. It's very powerful.
Oh man, I wish I can find that. There was maybe I won't be able to find it right now, but yeah, basically that was the main point there, that the stakeholders across the aviation value chain, the people that control the value chain, the aviation value chain are gonna. And so if you're like an independent person that likes to work on planes or something like that, I mean, I don't know how much of that exists now, but
I want to be in the value chain, Gonz. How do I get into the value chain?
You must sign the Clean Skies for Tomorrow. You must sign it with your blood. And maybe we will consider it.
They wouldn't let me sign that if I wanted to.
They wouldn't, yeah. Just a quick thing here. I saw this story and I don't really know where to fit it in. It happens annually, but also just to bring attention to it a little bit. This is Fox 31. Tornado hits New Orleans, causing severe damage. I don't know if you heard about the damage, but it sounded pretty bad.
Yeah, I saw some videos. Seems pretty scary. Should we call the producers?
I was thinking,
Let's do it.
Producers, assemble!
This was in Louisiana, correct? New Orleans?
Yes.
Okay.
And it
yes.
spun off into a couple different things that went into other states, but yeah.
I do know that we have producers there. So yes, producers around the world. Put it on your list here. Put it in the prayer journal, or just stop and take a second and pray for everybody in Louisiana who may be affected by the tornadoes, but especially keep in our prayers the producers of the show and listeners of the show who live in that area. Gonz, I think we should just skip politics for another time. This will put us right. It'll put us right back on track. We can either pick it up. We'll pick it up another time if we get ahead, or we'll put it for next show.
Okay.
It's kind of an evergreen.
I must have started the thing a little late, the Pomodoro late, because I'm still seeing some time left in our segment here, but it's okay.
Just a couple minutes, but it'll take much more time to go through the politics.
Should we play the Blackburn clip?
It's
short.
I want to save it. It's a whole thing. I got a whole breakdown. Yeah, for those who have been listening for a few months, you've heard me sort of obsess over the theater that's been going on with the Supreme Court for a long time. Not just the new nominee, but the weird political games going on. And I kept saying, I don't know exactly what it is, but something's happening, and something is happening. So we'll do a follow-up on that on next episode, because there's a whole rundown to do.
Okay. In the meantime, I guess we're taking a break.
Yeah.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
That's right. We're just going to take a quick break, folks, and you know what's going to happen. You're going to hear me talk about how wonderful the value for value model is, how we create value 3 times a week. If you get any value, I mean, really think about it. Is there any value that you get out of this show? I mean, maybe there's not. I'm not assuming, but if there is value and you would lose some value if it disappeared, consider becoming a producer, because not only does it keep the show going, but I believe that it's an exercise in the disconnection of the reliance on advertisers and corporations, not just not just for us as the creators of the show, but for you as someone who has been trained, and we all have, someone who's been trained for your whole life that, media that has any value has advertisements. It's a signal to our brain. Well, oh my gosh, well, if Home Depot likes this show, I certainly like this show. And it's a very effective mind control. It's a very effective way to extract wealth from lower classes and channel it up into the higher echelons of power in this world of ours. I truly do consider the advertising industry to be some sort of intentional sickness that is being sprayed over us. It hovers over us, and there's nothing we can do. And it's been there for so long that many of us don't even know that it's there or know that we are sick. And part of what my experience supporting other shows through the value for value model is that it is a very powerful act to not just show myself, but show the principalities and rulers of this world, and perhaps even show God that I don't need to rely on elite lizard people and their mind control in order to appreciate truth and maybe even just entertainment, whatever the case may be. So if you get any value out of what we do, please consider becoming a producer, and that's what you are, a real producer. And you do that by going to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
CanaryCry.Support.
Okay.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
There it is. Okay. Yes, we know it's a very catchy jingle. It's become a mainstay of this show, but we do need to start transferring away from that original URL. They both work, but go to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support or CanaryCry.Support and become a producer. And Gonz, who are we thanking today?
Well, we started with the executive producer at the top of the show, but we're going to thank him again.
Indeed.
Executive producers.
That's right. And thank you again, Kyle C., executive producer Kyle C., for this episode 462.
Where'd you find this?
And I did not see a note or anything come in from Kyle, so we're just going to give him our dearest and sincerest thanks from us and the rest of the Canary Cry family. Thank you very much, Kyle C. Comes in with $110.
Yeah, very nice.
Mm-hmm. And that is it. Just our one singular executive producer today.
Thank you, Kyle C. We have some other producers to thank.
Mm-hmm. I would like to stop in with the supply drop real quick.
Here we go.
Supply drop.
There it is. CanaryCry.Supply.com. Go check it out. CanaryCry.Supply.com. You can read all about the supply drop, which is our producer thank you campaign, where if you commit to supporting the show in $33 a month, you'll receive 4 times a year the Canary Cry supply drop, filled with exclusive, very special items created by our artists, created by our producers, some of them even created by me, manufactured in the United States with love and caring for the whole Canary Cry family. Go check it out, $33 a month. And here's the thing, I did the math. $33 a month roughly translates to less than $3 per show. So, it's when you think about it in one big chunk, it seems, that's not nothing, man. $30. That's certainly something to pay attention to. But if you are someone who listens to the show every episode, or at least, most episodes or many episodes, it's really committing, less than $3 per episode, and you'll get the benefits of not only participating in the value for value model, which I believe is very powerful, but also you'll receive cool thank you gifts. So go check that out. And there's still time, folks. Let's see, what is it, the 23rd? Yeah, there's 7 days, something like that, to sign up this month where you will receive the Canary Cry NFT, the new release of our fun NFT. And maybe that's not something you're interested in or know how to do, but along with that, you will get a fun tutorial, a fun how-to video from Gonz, where you will learn all about, crypto and NFTs, and maybe you'll learn something. So you also get a little lesson. And that's very fun. We're very excited about that. People have been telling us to get involved with the NFT thing for a long time, and we're not really like making a career out of it, but it is something that is valuable in a lot of different ways. So if you sign up in the next week, you can receive that NFT as well, and we are hoping to send those out once a month. So there you go, CanaryCry.Supply.com. Go check it out. There is a question here. When do you suspect a first supply drop shipment to arrive? Well, I don't know when it'll arrive because the shipping is different for everybody, but we'll be shipping them out, next Thursday. Ooh. So soon, supply droppers, soon.
All right, we got some more producers to thank here, and we're going to start off with Gottlieb M.
Thank you very much. Gottlieb M is actually one of our new Patreon supporters, coming in for $16 a month. Thank you very much, Gottlieb.
Thank you, Gottlieb. Next up, we have Harm V.
Harm V. Harm V. Yes, thank you very much. I did not see a note, but they came in for $13.13.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Morv.
Morv is on a 67 episode streak. Yes, very impressive. Thank you. Producer Morv comes in with 1111.
All right, next up, thank you very much, Morv. Next up, we have LX Protocol V2.
That's right. Producer bot LX Protocol V2 comes in 10 episodes in a row.
Oh, good streak.
Yeah. And comes in with a pocket full of sevens plus fees and a note. It's Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Thank you for all you do. Random jingles. Okay, give them a couple random jingles.
Get that cat out of here.
Yes, yeah.
This girl must be practicing witchcraft.
Nice.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
You're so generous, Gonz. You're so generous with the random jingles.
Yeah, it's quick, It's the least I can do.
All right.
Thank you, LX Protocol V2. Appreciate it. Next up, we have James M.
James M comes in for 1111 plus fees. He signed up for that on a recurring basis, a monthly basis. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, James.
So, yes,
M.
those monthly producerships. My goodness, folks, the producership, the one-time producerships have been in a slump the past week or so, which we understand. Third week of the month, it's always like that. But the monthly support has really helped. Oh my gosh, we don't have to stress so much because of the supply droppers and the other people who sign up for monthly support. It's really taken a load off of our plates for these, these sometimes week and a half during every month, that there's always a little slump, in between paychecks, things like that. So that's it. Let's continue.
All right. Thank you very much, James M. Next up, we have William B.
Yep. William B comes in for 1111 plus fees recurring again.
11. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Next up, we have Sir JC, Knight of the Techno Squatch.
That's right. You know him. You love him. Sir JC is on an 82 episode streak. Yeah, and he came in with the one with 001 and a note here that says, it is WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And he asked what our favorite board games are. Did he not already ask this? Maybe it was somebody else. Yeah. I don't know. I'm really into board games, and it's hard to pick a favorite. Last time I recommended Coup. Last time you recommended Yahtzee. And let me see here. Let me recommend to you, going through the mental map of board games in my head,
Sure.
I own. If you're new to if you think board game and you automatically think of the classics like Monopoly, Yahtzee, Trouble, I don't know, the ones everybody has, the sort of like 12 board games that ruled the world, ruled the market, Candyland, Candyland. Then I recommend starting in with some of the new era of board games, the new era, and that is obviously Settlers of Catan. I know.
I thought you were going to go with Dice Throne.
What is that?
I have no idea.
Weird. You just made something up entirely in your brain and thought that I would say it. That is how we work, though.
Yes, it is true.
Settlers of Catan is, anybody who's anybody in this sort of millennial sort of game night culture has played Settlers, and you either love it or you hate it. Most people love it. But if you're new to that sort of thing, check out Settlers. It'll give you a good introduction to sort of the new era of board games.
Okay.
All right.
That was Sir JC. All right, next up, thank you, Sir JC. Next up, we have Rashana G.
Rashana G comes in with a nice round number, which means we are not going to read it. But Rashana came in on Patreon, so thank you for that, recurring producership. And a note, which I took out I truncated, but it goes like this. Hi, Basil and Gonz. This is wrong. This is the wrong note. Hold on.
Rubber Ducky, what's your 1020?
Hey, truckers. Sorry.
Just saying hi to the truckers
saying
real
hi to
quick.
truckers while we wait for Basil to figure out what happened with the note.
Yes, I just put the wrong person's note under the wrong name.
Okay, well,
I apologize. I'm getting it. I'm 2 seconds away.
Well,
and as I don't think there was a note for that particular person. Why don't we continue? I'm going to keep looking for I have one more place to check.
I thought it was from the.
There's no. I'm good. I understand what's going on. I've got the data. Right. I've hacked the mainframe, and I will straighten it out. And we've stalled for so long that I've almost got the answer as we speak.
Okay.
Rashana G.
Yeah, I thought I liked no.
Nope. No.
Okay.
No, this one I'm really having to track down. Okay, what info do you have that might help me here?
Well,
this is the note from.
Nine. So now I got to start doing stuff.
Pretending to have knowledge. Let me do this. Let's thank Rebecca T.
Okay.
We'll thank Rebecca T, who I know we're going to thank. I'm having a hard time finding Rashana. So we'll thank Rebecca T. Thank you very much, Rebecca T., who came in on the Patreon and sent us a little note here that says, hi, Basil and Gonz, Rebecca T. here from India. I am so excited to finally be able to support you guys. Love your work. You guys truly bring a great value and knowledge in my life. Will continue to support the show. This was my first support today, and I'm hoping to reach knighthood one day. Oh, Rebecca T., lady after my own heart here. Why don't we demooch Rebecca T? I love being reminded that we really are a worldwide show here.
I love it.
We don't talk about it too much, but I see the numbers. There are people in pretty much every country in the world who listen to this show. And Rebecca T., there are a couple other Indian producers, but Rebecca T is definitely on that list. So thank you very much. And I'm seeing now Rashana G, thank you as well, did not send a note.
Okay.
But thank you for your support.
All right. Thank you, Rashana G, and thank you, Rebecca T. I don't know what happened there. It must have been a
little whoopsie daisies.
Yeah. All right. Continuing on here, we have Josh M.
Josh M is coming in for a pocket full of sevens and a note. Hey, Basil and Gonz, hope all is well. Haven't produced in a while, so I thought I would today. Thank you, Josh M. We have a question that my Bible study did once, and it is, if you were a fly on the wall in any time in the Bible, where would it be? God bless, Josh M. Fly on the wall, Gonz.
Oh, man.
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
Solomon. I'm still wanting to figure out what's going on with that guy.
Really
I want to be a fly on the
Solomon.
wall when things went sideways.
Well, depends on what part of the wall it crumbled.
Yeah, not the one that would have crushed me as a tiny fly, but yeah.
I still say
I just want to know what that kind of earthly wisdom looks like. I mean, of course, Jesus being even more wise and others being wise, but Solomon was wise and rich, baby. Oh,
I still got to go with Ezekiel. I know his vision probably happened outside, so I'd probably be hanging out on a tree or something, not a
safer place to be for a fly.
not a wall, but I'd like to know what happened there, and maybe the fly hexagonal vision will make it even more trippy.
Yeah. Okay. See, folks, this is what happens when you let Gonz go off script. He says the deepest, most profound things.
Sure.
Thank you, Josh M.
Thank you, Josh.
And a great example in how not every single producer has to produce every single episode, but as long as producers keep coming back and bringing the value when their value tank is full, the show can keep going.
All right. We also have Jonathan B.
Jonathan B. Pocket full of sevens. Someone please ISO Basil's rump rattle comment from yesterday's show. Rattle my cage with another jingle, Gonz.
Oh, wait. So you want me? Wait, I'm confused. Does he
wants a jingle?
Just any jingle?
Yeah, a rump rattling jingle. Rattle his cage.
Biological inequality. This is something which is way beyond just another species. Machine hybrids. Data is the key, and they will have power over us. That freaked me out.
Yeah, that freaked me out. Thank you, Jonathan B. I'm not sure what I said about the rump rattling, but I bet it was funny.
All right. Next up, we have Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth is on a 123 episode streak.
Quicker. Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much.
Impressive.
Thank you so much. And let's see here. No note from Sir Scott. Thank you. Pocket full of sevens.
Thank you very much. Well, back to back. I thought 123 was a lot. He's only outshined by one. And that is Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
That's right. Here he is. Sir Casey, the Shield Knight with a pocket full of sevens and a 133 episode streak.
Yeah! Quicker. Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much. Illuminatus!
Do we have a 133
We do
jingle?
have a 133 jingle.
All right.
We do have one.
I know we have a 111 here.
Yeah, we talked about this before the show. Did we forget to line it up here? Yeah. Let me see if I can get the name of it for you. Looking at the document, going to another document. Ooh, document's not loading. I don't.
Do you think it would be labeled 133 as a file?
That would be a place to start.
Yeah, because I'm finding is Canary Cry Radio episode 133, which
no, that's not
ethereal.
Right.
The truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, we could play the whole episode. Interesting. I thought we had gotten one, but maybe not.
I don't remember. I know we had a 111.
Email. I'm going to search the email real quick.
Okay.
Wow, maybe we forgot to just push the producers to come up with one. Well, we might have to give a rain check. Might be a rain check situation. Browsing.
I don't think we have one.
I don't know, man. Somehow it slipped by us. All right. Well, Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, we're giving you a, what is it called?
Fiat. We're giving you paper IOU.
Rain check. Yeah, we'll give you this Illuminati coupon that is good, which theoretically contains the value of one jingle.
Yes, the 133 streak jingle.
But you don't get to try to trade it in until we say so. Okay, that's how this works.
There's also, just because we have some different streak jingles that we don't normally play.
Oh, yes, they call him the street.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it might be time to shift.
We have to. I think we can upgrade.
Let's upgrade that. That's the 133 one now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, why not?
Boogity boogity?
No, I mean, like, that's the streak he gets every streak now.
Ah, okay. New streak. Okay.
133.
Streak 133. Yeah. Okay.
I like that one. It's soothing. It's also dynamic. We've got a lot of rump rattlers, but that one's a real hoedown.
Little country twang in there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll jingle makers, get on it. We need a 133 jingle.
All right. That does it for
that's
the
it.
$7.77 cutoff.
That's right. Concludes the list of producers who are entitled to have a note read on the show because of their 777 producership. But we got a few more to thank, and we're going to zoom through them, starting with Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah on a 68-episode streak. That's right. Next up, we got Jackie Yu on a 40-episode streak.
Jackie Yu.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule!
Thank you, Jackie.
We got a Gail sister, Gail M, a streak sister.
Streak sisters.
99-episode streak.
Women rule!
They're almost upgraded to the new streak jingle.
No.
And of course, the other streak sister, Veronica D, at 99 episodes in a row. We got Runk Smash on a 12-episode streak, which think means you might as well be walking on the sun, right?
Might as well be walking on the sun.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
Next, we got Doctor Who Dundad on a 69-episode streak.
Ooh.
And that concludes our financial producers for this episode. Thank you very much, and we encourage you, dear listener, to join that list for next episode. Thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Sorry, you had something?
Nope. We have a knighthood today.
Okay.
Exciting. For those who don't know, we have a thing called the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where the most illustrious producers who have supported the show in the amount of $1,000 or more over time or all at once are invited to take a seat and be knighted or damed with the name of their choice to represent their ambitions, their positions, their everything. So
their status
today,
in the Canarium, Basil, the round table.
They are elite. They are trusted. They are noble. And today we are daming. So happy to dame the wonderful producer Ebony Blaze.
Yay!
Wow. We didn't even plan that. Okay, here we go. Let's get our blades out here. Let me see. What can I find? What should I use? Okay, I'll use this one today. Here. There we go.
Nice.
Yes. Okay, you got yours.
I have my katana.
Okay, we want to call up Ebony Blaze to the CanaryCry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to pronounce you Dame Ebony Blaze. Cares for twins, cats, birds, and blooms for the Most High God. That might be the longest one. Please join us at the CanaryCry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, breastplate of righteousness, custom fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute cuddly kitties for cuddling. And if you're hungry, we have Fancy Feast, Wet Food, Carved Cosmo, the CRISPR cow, and of course, fried wormicorns. Welcome to the CanaryCry Knights and Dames Roundtable. Dame Ebony Blaze cares for twins, cats, birds, and blooms for the Most High God. And the crowd goes wild. That's right. Thank you, Ebony Blaze, for your participation and your value that you bring to the show and the whole family. So happy to have you here at the roundtable.
I just found a really old jingle. Do you remember this one?
Tell me something good.
Oh, yeah. We used to have a whole segment called Tell Me Something Good.
Mm-hmm. I would say the knighting of Ebony Blaze is something good.
I think so, too. Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Ebony Blaze. Again, Such a vital participant in the value for value model here, and everybody is very excited for you, but also because of you.
Thank you very much. All
Checking
right.
on some voice messages.
Yes, we are doing that now.
Yeah, yes, we are.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to Canary.
You remembered.
I was in it. I'm programmed now. Go to CanaryCry.Newstalk.com. There's a green tab on the right-hand side or on the bottom, depending. And click on that. You can leave us a voice message. Do whatever you want, man. I used to give suggestions. Do whatever you want. who have we?
You sound so defeated.
I can't control anybody, man. I'm not here to tell you what to do.
All right.
You can leave us a message. Do whatever you want.
Okay, well, we're going to start with a message from Menace Sensei.
Hey, Basil and Gonz. This is Menace Sensei, your favorite simp. I just want to say I really appreciate what you guys do for the Canarium. I really am grateful to God that I was able to find you guys. Well, I found Gonz, channel Facelikethesun through Destiny Lab. Shout outs to Destiny Lab.
Oh, nice.
And from there, it was just, a crazy trip because as a Christian, I was barely like a year in as a Christian, born again Christian. And a lot of things that I found were just, not a lot of Christians were talking about. It was more of so like, oh, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist, you shouldn't believe in that stuff. And when I found your channel, when I found CanaryCry Radio, it was wild. It was like, wow, there's people that are actually talking about this. I thought it was just a few people that weren't, that didn't see it in a weird, like outcast, like, it's just kind of weird to explain.
I do know.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome bumping into your channel and watching you to see 1, 2, and 3. Oh man, and I'm really excited for you to see 4. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, well, anyways, thank you guys for everything you do, and think outside the cage.
Yeah, buddy. Nice. Thank you so much, Menace Sensei. And yeah, we always love hearing those stories, because it's always they're always simultaneously unique but relatable.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's actually kind of funny because that's exactly what the whole premise of the Joyspiracy Theory podcast is. Go check it out. Another podcast I do based on all this kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you, Menace Sensei. It's heartwarming to hear those stories.
Yeah.
And fun to hear the voices of people that we see around in the community, people who produce, people whose notes we read, people whose emails we get, stuff like that. So yeah, I recommend other people do what Menace Sensei did as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, the very kind words. Appreciate that. Praise the Lord. It's all his work. We're just kind of chugging along down here and doing our thing. So appreciate that. We got another message here from Mr. Magoo.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Basil and Gonz, this is Magoo's message to Vladimir Putin.
Oh.
War! Oh, yeah, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again, war! What is it good for? Nothing. Say it again, war. What is it good for? Absolutely
really
nothing.
Putting his back into this one, huh?
I could feel his toes.
I love
what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
Thank you very much, Mr. Magoo.
Incredible. Thank you, Mr. Magoo.
Sense the passion.
Yes, and more reasonable timing on that one. I appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Magoo, for that uplifting message to Vladimir Putin.
Yes, very good. Last message here from The Real Bubbles.
Oh.
Hey, boys. Just want to say I like the show. Got a bone to pick with the imposter out there, though. You might have some kitties and you might live in a shed, but there's only one Bubbles here as far as I can see. Okay? I've been in the park quite a while, and, there's only one Bubbles around here. So, just want to say I like the show, boys. Just sit here in my shed, fixing my carts with my kitties, and, I really like the show. Been a pretty recent conversion for me to the Lord, What? Hold on a second. No, Ricky. Not Lord the singer, the Lord Jesus Christ. Okay? Jeez. Anyhow, no, Ricky, I did not take the Lord's name to Spain, and that's not even how you say it. My goodness. Okay, anyhow, enough distractions, boys. Just want to say, I like this show. About the Wednesday jingle thing, I don't see what all the hubbub is about. We can all get along. There's good things about each of them, I think. But anyhow, boys, don't want to make this too long, but I got one more thing to say. Hi, Beth. I think you're great. Okay? You're real pretty. You love the Lord. I love you. Okay? Anyhow, thanks, boys.
Okay, so there's
the real bubbles,
the Wednesday wars and now the bubble wars, the bubbles wars. Yeah, apparently we had an imposter before and the real one called in. Well, thank you very much again, Bubbles. And if you have no context for that, folks, I don't know what to tell you. You got to watch more. Got to watch more Canadian television.
Okay.
What did he say? Was he talking to? Did he say Baz or Beth?
It sounded like
shout out to Beth.
Yeah, it sounded like Beth, but I thought Basil, but then
thought maybe it was Baz. But it could have been
I thought
Beth.
so too. But it sounded like a romantic.
That's what I thought as well.
Which could be. I mean, you
either
never know.
way,
Yeah, you never know.
Either way, wonderful message. Thank you, Bubbles. Okay,
thank you, Bubbles.
Any more voice messages?
That is it. Let's
voice
wake on up.
messages have become a wonderful example of how we have no control over this culture, Gonz. We are simply its stewards.
Yes.
All right. Continue.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, y'all, wake up.
Later, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Go find another place to listen.
Oh, boy, YouTube.
Too hot for YouTube from here on out. Sorry, Susan.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, you can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well. Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
Oh, I see all those people in the chat. I feel so horrible hitting
There
the
they
laugh
go.
button.
Bye. They'll find their way. They're on their way to Twitch or something.
They're gone.
All right, time for COVID.
Oh, COVID.
It's Corona time. COVID-19. 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 Yes. COVID-19. COVID-19. Coronavirus.
Vaccine. I am vaccine. Vaccine, number one way.
Jab.
Yeah, Gonz, before we get started, I do want to say, I think I hit the same wall that you hit a few weeks back, with reading news about COVID, reporting on news about COVID, analyzing news about COVID. It's seriously just, they're not changing anything. It's just the same repetition of the official narrative, ignoring the science over and over and over. It's not shifting. It's exhausting. It is honestly exhausting. I'm exhausted.
It's meant to do it. It's meant to do
exactly.
that.
And that's exactly right, which is it's meant to exhaust us. It's meant to be repetitive. It's meant to be boring. It's meant to be frustrating because they literally are ignoring scientific research that's been known for a year at least, and they still repeat the mainstream narratives. So I just want to say that this part of the thing, we read hundreds of articles a week for you guys. Seriously, the COVID stuff is starting to grate on me, and the reason we're still bringing it is because something will break. Trends are still developing. It is not, we know they'll bring it back at any moment. and we just don't want to be caught by surprise. So
at the same time,
we try our best. Yeah,
it seems like they are at the point in time when we can call it a COVID dip in like the public consciousness, so to speak, or attention of the public, at least in America. Yeah,
distraction zone.
In the last month since Ukraine, it feels like, yes, there's a burnout because it's all the same stuff, but also they've been sort of dropping in like, a little bit of facts here.
Things are happening, and that's why we do it, because every once in a while there's a little breadcrumb that gives us a clue as to what the next phase of the plan is. So anywho, just in case anybody out there is also tired of it,
I think everybody
we are also tired of it, but we do our best to bring you stuff that we actually matters, that we can pick out a trend. We can use as a forecast for what might be coming, because the point is to still keep you guys ahead of your normie friends. So here we go. FoxNews.com. Alcohol-related deaths jumped during COVID-19 pandemic. Study. Alcohol-related deaths increased during the first year of COVID-19 pandemic, according to researchers. Again, we already knew this, but okay, what's this say? In a study published earlier this month, authors from the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism found that the number one rate of deaths increased approximately 25% between 2019 and 2020, from 78,000 something to 99,000 something. In addition, alcohol-related deaths accounted for 2.8% of all deaths in 2019 and 3% in 2020. Although the alcohol deaths rose for everybody, people ages 25 to 44 experienced the greatest increases in alcohol-related deaths in 2020. Wow. I wonder what the actual number of that is. About the 25 to 44-year-olds who died of COVID versus died of alcohol-related things brought on or exacerbated by lockdowns.
This is the sort of presupposition here for people like us is we were saying the pandemic's probably going to, the lockdown is going to kill more people than the virus itself.
Yeah. The rates of deaths. The rates of deaths increased before the pandemic, but less rapidly. The rate increase for alcohol-related deaths in 2020 outpaced the increase in all-cause mortality, which was 16.6%. The Institute, a division of the National Institute of Health, used U.S. mortality data. It's notable that this was the NIH. Yeah. Fauci. Fauci, Francis, used U.S. mortality data from the National Center for Health Statistics to compare the numbers and rates of alcohol-related and all-causes deaths among the individuals 16 and older in 2019 and 2020. The provisional data for the first half of 21 were also obtained from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, wide-ranging online data for epidemiological research. Deaths were identified as alcohol-related if an alcohol-induced cause was listed as an underlying or contributing cause. I think this was an interesting detail because alcohol-related is basically the same definition as, what they used to call a COVID death.
Right.
But was more of a COVID as... What was the official term?
With COVID or
that's what
from
it was.
COVID.
With COVID. So the alcohol related is kind of like the with COVID.
Yeah.
And I thought about this in regards to this this study, this article, as being sort of a way to normalize the with and not the because of, perhaps.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. I mean, that's always kind of. Admittedly, the sort of normalization analysis is kind of a boring one and an easy one. But I don't know. It occurred to me. In 2020, 2,042 death certificates listed alcohol and COVID-19 as causes. So we had the alcohol and COVID deaths. There's 2,000 people who had COVID and alcohol on the scorecard. It's like X bonus points. Opioid overdose deaths involving alcohol as a contributing cause increased by more than 40% There was a 59.2% increase in which alcohol contributed to overdoses, specifically in synthetic opioids other than methadone. Weird way to not have to type the word fentanyl, but okay. I mean, seriously, such a weird way to do that. The authors said that possible reasons these deaths increased include pandemic-related stressors, shifting alcohol policies, and what is shifting alcohol policies?
I think there was some
treatment access.
I'm not sure about that.
What are the policies around alcohol?
I think certain bars and stuff, they had like time limits or curfews and stuff like that. So certain places couldn't sell alcohol past a certain time because everything had to shut down. But that
increased, so people just drank more while they were there, or maybe
no. I think people started hoarding the alcohol or something, maybe, or buying it in bulk.
Seems like something they should explain to us. Maybe they will. Yep. But pandemic-related stressors. You mean lockdowns? You mean government-mandated control mechanisms, not pandemic-related stressors. No, it's government's at fault here for the lockdowns, which, as Johns Hopkins admitted, that lockdowns did zero amount of help to stem COVID. So there you go. A bunch of people locked inside for no benefit. Limitations to the study include inaccurate death certificates. They never mentioned that with COVID, but okay. And unclear causal relationships among listed causes of death. Oh, yeah. Let's just copy and paste that sentence and put it on every article listing COVID deaths. Quote, whether alcohol-related deaths will decline as the pandemic wanes and whether policy changes could help reduce such deaths warrants consideration, the authors wrote. Dr. Aaron White, the study's first author and scientific advisor at the Institute, said that available data for 21 indicates that alcohol-related deaths remained elevated. Quote, maybe they'll go back down, he told the New York Times on Tuesday, but this could be a new norm. The new norm, Gonz. Mm-hmm. The new norm. You want to list the new norms? Things like children having heart attacks is the new norm. Alcohol-related deaths at an all-time high as the new norm. This is the new norm that was advertised to us all throughout the pandemic. Wonderful.
You know what's interesting is that this Fox article kind of talks about this issue, but there's another article from the healthcrabberpost.com. I don't know the legitimacy of this post, but they had a similar article, but they actually list a very specific number in here, which let me try to pull up.
That would really be appreciative.
Amongst adults more youthful than 65, I'm thinking maybe this was either AI or another country that wrote it, or a different language that got translated into English. Among adults, did I read the headline?
I have no idea.
The headline was alcohol comparable deaths spiked all through first 12 months of pandemic. And find out about, which is why I think there might be some kind of translation error going on. Amongst adults more youthful than 65, alcohol-related deaths reasonably outnumbered COVID-19 deaths in 2020, the researchers discovered. And look at this number, which is weird, 74,400 American citizens aged 16 to 64 died from alcohol-related reasons, as in comparison with 74,075 other people underneath age 65 who died from COVID-19. So again, weird. I don't know. There's some weird grammar stuff going on.
So they're kind of like the exact same number?
It's just a few hundred, about 300 less people died from COVID between the ages of 16.
That can't be right. Because there was like in 20. Let me see. At the end of 2020, they were saying it was like
2020 was the year the pandemic started. So
I know. I'm trying to remember the death counts. We had them blasted in our faces so often because we hit 700,000 at the end of 21. I think we had reached. I'm not sure we were much over 100,000.
I don't think. It was probably. I'm trying to find it.
Which means if 75, I'll just round, 75 were under 65. That doesn't. I don't know, man. I lost my train of thought on that. What can you Google it real quick? What was the death count of COVID on 2020.
2020, yeah, I know. I'm trying to find from COVID. Should be easy to find, but you know how it is with like World Health Organization websites and stuff. They make it really hard
and it's
to
really
find.
not because the CDC has recounted multiple times.
Right, and even last episode we talked about there was about 70-something thousand.
They've done it again. Yes, they were 24% off on the pediatric deaths. And, so I think,
it says 300, and this is according to WebMD, so whatever.
Yeah.
About 385,000 were reported in 2020 deaths.
That's what I was going to say, but it seemed high to me. But okay, so that does make sense then. If you had 300,000-ish die of COVID, and only 75,000 of those were under 65. That was back in the day when like the only people who were really at danger were seniors. And so, that makes total sense. Alcohol killed the same or more amount of people in 2020 than COVID did. And what a wonderful question to ask. Those people were locked in their homes because of a disease that was most likely not going to kill them. And yet not a whole lot being done about all the deaths from, alcohol. But okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a relationship there too between people drinking more in their homes and
exactly.
And
a disease that was probably not going to kill them. The number, according to Johns Hopkins, would not have been much or any higher if they were not locked down, but they probably would not have died as often of alcohol stuff if they were not locked down also. So there you go. I mean, the lockdowns killed more people than they saved, according to those numbers.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's a good quiz for your normie friends.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to wrap your head around because the programming is the programming is strong with everybody. I don't want to, at risk of, sounding gross, the programming is strong with us, and think of the difference it is with people who are not us is even stronger. And it really boggles the mind. It's really difficult to try to hold on to that simply because it's just so evil. It's just so, and people wonder why folks aren't stoked on centralizing control into a centralized authority any more than it already is. Because even if let's just do a hypothetical, not putting any judgment on it, even if it was an accident that they enforced enforced actions that killed more people than it saved on accident, that is still a reason to, it's probably even a better reason to not give more control to centralized authority.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of centralized authority, there's a lot of COVID cases recently, and this is a trend that we've been noticing. And really,
not just us. I think the entire internet is noticing.
Of course, it's a very weird trend.
Yeah.
And yes, could it be some sort of messaging or signal, or at least a clue as to what might be coming?
Yep. Well, we had Obama test positive last week.
Yeah.
We had Justice, I'm trying to remember his name. Clemens? I forget. He was put in a hospital for an illness. They didn't say COVID, so I don't know if that was COVID or not. But this week, in the span of like 2 days, we had a bunch of people come out publicly and say they tested positive.
By the way, in a time of admittedly shrinking COVID cases,
yes,
the whole world is shrinking in their COVID cases. Well, I'll say our country, but the whole world also is shrinking in COVID cases. And somehow this list of people happened to all get it in the same 2 days.
So we got Obama last week. He's ahead of the curve. He's Mr. Obama. So, and this headline from dailymail.co.uk: Hillary Clinton reveals she has COVID. Fully vaccinated 74-year-old shares she has, quote, mild cold symptoms, but Bill has tested negative and is quarantining. Why a but? Why is it a but?
How disappointing.
But Bill has tested
negative.
Exactly.
It's but because it's disappointing.
Let me just read the bullet points because
That's mean. I don't mean to bully Bill Clinton. He's a sad old man that doesn't need some schmuck making fun of him. He's got to answer to much bigger things than me making fun of him.
So here's here are the bullet points. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it says the former first lady tweeted, "Well, I've tested positive for COVID. I've got some mild cold symptoms, but I'm feeling fine." She's fully vaccinated. She said she was, quote, more grateful than ever for the protection vaccines can provide against serious illness.
Yeah,
this
weird.
is the propaganda right here.
Weird how well the vaccines work in celebrities, but not in regular people.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? It's almost like they have a different kind of blood or something.
No, it was never supposed to prevent.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. Lots of people are doing that. That's like the Twitter defense.
It is.
It's not supposed to prevent it. Okay, well, it was. It was for a year and a half.
And most of
and when it didn't, it wasn't supposed to.
And isn't most of the history of vaccines, isn't that the idea? To prevent it?
Yeah. We don't need to go through, but you're right. You are correct. It's supposed to. Let's go back and forth. It's kind of fun here.
Yeah.
This is from NPR. This is one of my most entertaining times of the week here. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki tested positive again for COVID-19.
She
twice. It's been like twice in a month or something. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki announced Tuesday that she had tested positive for COVID-19. Let's see. She's socially distancing in meetings. Well, she had. Okay, I'm just going to read it. I thought I could summarize, but in a statement posted to Twitter, Psaki said she had 2 socially distant meetings with Biden on Monday and said he is not considered a close contact by CDC guidance.
I was far away from his throne.
Right. So along the narrative here, it has been proven and admitted by the leaders of the whole, health establishment that social distancing, especially the 6 foot number, is pretty much arbitrary.
Completely arbitrary.
And because COVID is aerosolized, social distancing doesn't do anything. If you're in the same room and there's no windows open or something, you could be 50 feet apart and eventually it would float over to you. So again, this is just narrative crafting to prepare the way to go back to these scientifically disproven mandates or suggestions or whatever.
Yeah.
Biden tested negative with a PCR test on Tuesday. Well, we know from what we know about PCR tests, that doesn't mean much.
Doesn't mean anything.
Quote, today in preparation for travel to Europe, I took a PCR test this morning. That test came back positive, which means I'll be adhering to CDC guidelines and no longer be traveling on the president's trip to Europe, Psaki wrote on Twitter. And this, I thought it was interesting. I was going to bring the article about Biden's trip to Europe. He's going to Poland, I believe, to do all sorts of things to, show unification, to meet with leaders.
Yeah, America's got to lead the New World Order.
Right.
He said it.
This is sketchy for so many reasons. And I didn't bring the article, so I won't go into the analysis. But to be sending the president of the United States over to a country that is considered the enemy of the biggest military force actively in a war zone in the neighboring country, and they could.
Do you think something's going to happen to
No,
Biden?
I don't think they will, but I think it's a dumb move. But it's PR to show that he's brave and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And there were three diplomats from NATO countries that took a train into Kiev to meet with Zelensky in an active war zone where a stray grenade or a carelessly fired bullet, if it did anything to harm one of these NATO officials, would have instantly caused World War III. Yeah. And now we're sending Biden article after article after articles was last week was talking about these explosions, these missiles that were landing just 10 miles away from the border of Poland, just 40 miles away from, making it sound like, it's encroaching on Poland.
Yeah,
and now
remember
Biden's just flying
speech?
to Poland.
Yeah,
He's just going there.
Yeah.
which I think is, of course, a nice build up to the narrative. But yeah, and Russia's intercontinental, not those ones. They're hypersonic missiles that they've been showing off that can fly like 3,000 miles in 5 minutes or whatever. They could easily just drop one on Biden. Easy. I don't think they will. That would be crazy if they did.
It would be insane.
How insane
you
of a
think
twist
things
would
are
that
crazy now? Imagine if Putin blew up Biden.
You know, and this is what bugs me, dude, because when we were covering this weird Chinese virus in December of 2019, and we were kind of like, oh, we're just taking a look at it. And we were kind of, I don't know if we said it on the show, but behind the show, not on the air, we were like, oh, yeah, you know, you get these every once in a while, these little things that are kind of scared tech. Surely nothing will happen of this. And then it just totally changed the world.
It seems like all the stuff that they've been faking out for a while, they just like, all right, let's go with it. Pandemic, bird flu, blah, blah, blah,
run,
whatever. Yeah. The real deal. And then same thing with the war with the Ukraine, too.
The fact that COVID happened at all was a total paradigm shift for me looking at the news. And so, do I think that Biden's going to get hurt in Poland? No. Do I think it's a stupid idea? Yes. Do I think they have a plan and this is PR? Yes. But, oh my gosh.
Can you imagine?
If something did,
kills Biden.
I mean, after the COVID thing, to have a hypersonic missile take out Biden in Poland that's like the end.
And then they'll do a deep fake.
Kamala instantly steps up.
Kamala loves it. They'll have a deep fake final recording from Biden.
Pelosi Pelosi steps up to vice president.
Oh my
Kamala
gosh.
steps up. You've got the two women.
Oh, the two ladies.
You've got Kamala and Nancy Pelosi as the leaders of the free world Master Chief. Leader of the U.S. military, during World War III. That would just be the most insane turn of events.
Do you know one of the fringe kind of concepts of UFOs and in the Bible? There's a passage. Let me pull it up because it's very interesting. Zechariah 5:9. I'll read it here. Then I lifted my eyes and saw, and behold, two women coming forward. Oh. Their wind was in their wings. They had wings like the wings of a stork. And they lifted up the basket between earth and heaven. Now that basket, the ephah, that's right, the ephah. If you look at an ephah, kind of looks like a flying saucer-ish kind of deal. So people have made that connection. But, I mean, beside the point, this is the only time I think this is the only time that there's like a female angelic type of description.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
In the Bible.
Yeah.
Two women like storks, had wings like storks. So I don't know. I'm just bringing it up because this idea of the U.S. being led by two women and bringing about this new world order that,
through World War III.
Well, and plus, why would Joe mention the new world order thing before he goes into Poland?
Right.
Man.
And on top, to top it all off, so that was a crazy
I'm sorry,
tangent.
that was a crazy
No, it's not your fault. I went on the tangent. Yeah. But it's to bring it back to Saki getting COVID.
Saki.
She got COVID the morning she was going to Europe with Biden.
Oh.
Which is suspicious, man.
Like, hey, Jen, you might want to come back.
Pretty
interesting question. Circle back. We'll have to circle back.
Yeah,
circle back
if she went to Poland, she might not have circled back.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why she had to stay. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. Things like that don't happen on accident. I mean, it's possible, but I'm very skeptical because what a perfect reason to not go.
Yeah.
It's the only reason that she could have not gone. And you're going to need her if something happens to Biden,
all the women, the entire government is going to be run by women.
It's all
which
women.
Is not. I'm not against women. Obviously, women rule.
It's not about women. It's an interesting paradigm shift.
Yeah. Which makes all the sense in the world when we talk about Antarctica later in the show here.
Indeed,
It'll explode your brain.
Yeah. So to wrap up with Saki here, she's fully vaccinated. She's so thankful for the vaccination.
She circled back to another infection.
Yes. It's and this is a common thing with every single one of these people. They all talk about go get vaccinated.
Go get vaccinated. Yeah. Look at me and look how protected I am. I got it, but I'm still awesome.
I'm Hillary Clinton. I'm back. Go do it. Okay. Who's next?
Briefly, ABC News. Norway's king tests positive for COVID, has mild symptoms.
Yeah.
Officials say Norway's 85-year-old King Harald V has tested positive for the coronavirus on Tuesday and has mild symptoms. Harald will take a break from his duties for a few days, and that his son and heir to the throne, Crown Prince Haakon, I don't know how to say that, would take them over for now, the royal household said in a brief statement. So, it's really interesting to see, if the world elite just use COVID as like a little exit boat or something.
Vacation.
Vacation or just anything. Anytime they need a break or anytime they need to, quote unquote, die. COVID is a great way because it keeps the machine running, the money going, the whole fear cycle.
Well, this is not nothing. King of Norway,
85 years old, so
85 years old,
risk age bracket.
Harold, the phrase King Harold is very important to the Norwegians because it's sort of the famous lineage from the original king of Norway, if I remember correctly. It's just a very powerful statement, if nothing else.
Yeah. And another point of reference to note, NJ.com. This is New Jersey. True Jersey news. New Jersey reports
pretty good.
New Jersey reports 14 COVID deaths, 691 cases. Stealth variant. Now 30% of positive tests.
Stealth variant. Not so stealth if you've detected it in 30%. Yes, is referring. I was referring to King Harald Fairhair, who's the first king of Norway. Okay, cool. Stealth variant. Do they have a name? Do they have a name for this?
No, it's a so-called
just calling
stealth
it the stealth.
Variant. I don't even know if they give us the actual, like the string
like
letter.
B182 or whatever.
Or I guess it's BA.2.
Oh, yeah, there it is. BA2.
BA2. There you go.
BA2, if I remember, that was the subvariant of Omicron, if I remember. I might be wrong. Oh, yeah, it says right here. Omicron stealth subvariant.
There you go.
See what happens when you read things? Anyways.
I did read some of this beforehand. But,
I'm talking about me. It's like, BA2, that sounds familiar. In the very next sentence. Okay, I got some for us before another break here. As we've commented on before, Fauci has disappeared. He was gone. He was like pulling a camel up.
Bye.
Yeah, it was actually a wonderful, refreshing moment. For only lasted one calendar month.
The lizard people told him to go on a vacation,
which is a long time. A calendar month for Fauci to not be on our TV is like, it was really a breath of fresh air. But he's back, and here's a clip from Good Morning America 3.
I know there are numbers and things you're keeping an eye on and trends, but just generally speaking, and put it in lay terms for us, how are we doing right now?
Well, right now we continue to come down in a steady decrement of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. There's no doubt about that. The trend still.
No, wait, hold on. Really? When was this recorded?
This was like 2 days ago. Friday. I think it was Friday.
Okay, so all right. Oh, whatever. Okay.
Hospitalizations and deaths. There's no doubt about that.
Why?
The trend
wait,
still
stop.
is.
Why are you balking at that?
Because what are the numbers? Like, because he makes it sound like nothing. Like he stepped into a time machine from like 2 months ago when January, the spike, the highest we've ever seen, and then he just like walked into last week and he's like, oh yeah, everything's still horrible.
No, he's saying it's a decrement. They're going down.
Okay.
No, he's coming in and giving the kind of the state of the union.
I thought he was saying that it's still like raging.
No.
Okay. I must have missed it.
It's the opposite, which is funny because why are you here? If it's that's the point. So he's starting out talking about it's falling, and the question we ask is, okay, if it's not a problem and it's falling, why are you here? Why are we listening to you?
My question is, what is that giant zit or hole on his forehead?
Does have sort of a wound on his head or something.
Looks like they tried to put a mark on him or something.
Yeah, he's got a little microchip implant.
All right, I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood.
Vaccine
well, right now we continue to come down in a steady decrement of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. There's no doubt about that. The trend still is coming down. However, what we're seeing in Europe and particularly in the UK is something we really need to pay attention to, because they are starting to see a reversal and a resurgence of cases. We generally follow the UK by a few weeks of what goes on in the UK generally happens here. So even though our cases are continuing to come down, I would not be surprised if in the next couple of weeks, as we are now more and more opening up with the CDC modifying their metrics for guidelines for indoor masking, that we might well see an increase.
Modifying metrics? Do you know what he's talking about? Of the masks, like indoor masks? Is that just are you talking about the like the rules, or are you talking about like we're changing how we measure things?
Sorry, I was busy looking at his face and thinking weird thoughts. So go back a little bit, and
he does look very like tired.
I want to go into I'll just say it. Yeah, he's some weird things. He looks puffy. Yeah, like he his cheeks and his nose and his lips and like things look weird.
It looks like he looks aged.
Yes, he looks like he aged and has been drinking for a month straight. Yeah, he's kind of got a little bit of the puffiness that comes from not taking care of yourself very much. His eyes are significantly more sunken. He's got the weird thing on his head that was never there. His lips are kind of a weird color. He's a little bit pallid. He just doesn't look like the sort of, I don't know, media primped machine that he was for so long. So back it up a little bit. I want to hear what you heard, and then we'll keep going.
2 weeks of what goes on in the UK generally happens here. So even though our cases are continuing to come down, I would not be surprised if in the next couple of weeks, as we are now more and more opening up with the CDC modifying their metrics for guidelines for indoor masking, that we might well see.
So that's a weird thing to say. And this is another thing that is going on. He's not on it. He's low energy. Yeah. He's saying weird words. He's kind of not like floundering, but just like talking weird. His words are not quite correct, but they're just enough where like you can breeze past them.
Low energy for sure.
Very low energy. He's talking about the metrics or guidelines, modifying metrics for guidelines. So modifying, changing, metrics, measurements, changing measurements for mask guidelines. Why would you change measurement? I mean, you modify guidelines.
Yeah, you modify the guidelines, but
you might use metrics to modify guidelines. But why are you modifying metrics for the guidelines?
The masks are coming off because of this, and therefore the cases are going to come back. That's his point, right?
What he literally said, if you take the literal translation, modifying metrics for guidelines, he's word for word saying we are changing the data so we can change the guidelines. So we can change the mask. We're changing the data so that we can tell you to wear a mask. Now, do I think he meant to say that? No. Could it have been the truth just sort of coming out? Maybe. Or is he just sort of toasted? I don't know. Okay, keep it going. There's much more. I don't mean to go.
Because that's not what they're seeing in the UK. They're not seeing an increase in intensive care unit beds usage, nor are they seeing any increase in all-cause mortality.
Dr. Fauci, right now, this BA2 subvariant makes up about 23% of the cases here in the U.S. You and other experts believe that, of course, will go up and potentially become the dominant variant. But as you mentioned, it seems to be effective against vaccines. Yes, it seems to be more transmissible, but...
Stop. The subvariant is more effective against vaccines.
I didn't hear that. Well, let me hear it again.
Percent of the cases here in the U.S. You and other experts believe that, of course, will go up and potentially become the dominant variant. But as you mentioned, it seems to be effective against vaccines. Yes, it seems to be more transmissible, but it seems to not cause more severe disease. So what should Americans take away from this news? What we're seeing in Europe?
She must have meant virus. Is this one of those flipperoo things?
No. I mean, what she's trying to say is that vaccines aren't as effective.
As the virus, as getting the virus itself, yeah.
Right. It's a little trick because you don't want to say that the vaccines aren't effective.
Right.
You say that the virus is effective against the vaccine. So the vaccine is not ineffective. It's just the virus that's more effective. And, which is also a weird word to use because you don't really say something is effective unless you made it to be, you know what I mean? Like you say that about something you make, you say that about the vaccines, you say that about stuff, something that you tried to make effective and you brag and you say, yes, it's very effective. But to say that, a wild virus is effective against a vaccine, again, not technically wrong, just really weird.
The wording, it's almost like trying to hide behind the language, the truth.
It's a confusion,
Yeah.
Should we be changing our behaviors or our patterns or be doing anything differently?
Well, the answer is one of the things we can do differently. I keep saying it almost like a broken record is that if you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. And if you are vaccinated and are eligible for a boost, get a boost. We need to be prepared to pivot and perhaps go back on some of the mitigations like masking if required. I hope we don't need to go there. I hope we don't. But if we do, we need to be prepared to be flexible and really taper and guide our actions according to what the data show. Right now, we're in good shape. Things continue to come down.
The data that they
that they just had to redo because
the data that keeps getting recounted, the data that he just said they were modifying the metrics, and really the one word there, and we don't have to listen to much more. We can just see what happens, and if we don't want to, we can.
I have about 30 seconds left here.
We can go, but the main thing there was we got to be ready to pivot. That's it. We got to be ready at any moment. Any moment, we got to be ready. Masks, lockdowns, any moment, we got to be ready. We just need to do it. It's our responsibility.
In every aspect, cases, hospitalizations, and deaths.
But Dr. Fauci, you said that we had to be ready to be flexible and maybe go back to some of these restrictions. But the reality is, don't we have to admit that train has left the station? It's going to be almost impossible to get people to put masks back on.
I unfortunately have to agree with you on that. I think everyone feels, not only in the United States, but throughout the world, that we're done with COVID. I mean, it's an understandable feeling. We've had 2 years and 3 months of real difficulty having to deal with this. And you're quite right. If people need to pivot and turn around, it's going to be very difficult for people to do that.
Yes. Okay. And what do you do when your population won't voluntarily comply? Well, we've seen it for 2 years. You then mandate it. You then start busting out the militarized police. You then take firmer measures to compel compliance. Because, yes, there's no way that people are going to voluntarily wear masks. He said the word. Nobody's going to voluntarily do this. Yes, well, you're right.
You're right. They're going to have to be forced to do it.
Exactly. So Anthony Fauci.
At least he's telling the truth, Mr. Science's truth man.
He's out of the cave. He's ready to pivot, folks.
I still want to know what happened. Either he's really been binging and he's breaking out, He's really diving into the chocolate.
I don't know what it is.
And whiskey. Or,
maybe it's not him. Maybe it's a mask. Maybe it's one of the rubber masks. It's a body double. They put a little pimple on his head for authenticity.
The signal to the elite.
The puffy face is just, it's the latex. The low energy is because it's not really him. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
I don't know. That's just something I say. That's just for entertainment, folks. I don't think that it could be possible. I don't know. Ask your favorite conspiracy theory podcaster. He might know more. Or she. All right. That's all I have really for that. But lots of weird stuff.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Let's take a quick, short break to thank the producers who come in with their talent. Canary Cry News Talk is a place for therapeutic reflection of our troubling world with people telling us to put our masks on even after the pandemic. It's craziness going on out there. But we're all here together to deal with it together. And we encourage producers to express these problematic issues with art, music, and do it in different ways so that we can process it, laugh together, and find the humor and the joy even amidst all this darkness.
You can hear it in his voice, can't you, folks?
In whose voice? But Fauci's voice?
Yours.
My voice?
The humor and the joy.
The humor and the joy.
The humor and the joy.
The humor and the joy. Find. This is why I'm not a politician. This is not my
You
shtick.
sound like Fauci. You need a little shot of something. Okay. All right. So, yes, it's great. What do we got? We don't have any audio production today, I don't believe.
I don't think we do.
I didn't see any come in, but I sometimes miss things. But we got some art.
We do have some art.
One art, please.
And we shall. Oh, you know what I have? This is fun. I have a little special thing for it, and this is something that we can.
A little surprise.
Yeah, we can move forward with. But this is Dame Allie.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And Basil, I don't know if you noticed that there is a haiku.
I do.
And,
I see that.
And Ebony Blaze has been doing the haiku with Dame Allie, and it's been happening, for a little while. But
can I pause you real quick? Because I want to hear this. But
yeah.
On the stream, the chat is covering everything.
Covering everything.
The art.
Okay.
Le art.
All right. Well, chat. Sorry, you're not going to get to see what you're saying.
Yeah.
On screen.
Well, we got to see the art.
Okay. So I kind of wanted to. Make it a little more official,
Love it. Okay.
Just a little more fun. So let's try this. So this is
anticipation.
This is okay. Let me try here. Hillary done got the Clovid. Ebony Blaze haiku. She has COVID, but is thankful for vaccines and wants your movie, Rex. Someone should send her Age of Deceit 1, 2, 3. Bet she would love them.
I like it. That was very nice. Very authentic. Very soothing. Transported to a cherry blossom orchard.
Yes.
With a pagoda.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the meantime,
along the lines, it really brought a lot of peace when I have to look at this face. Is the wonderful, beautiful lizard eyeballed Hillary Clinton face, the COVID Clinton face here. This is
Clinton.
It's like she used one of her headshots, her like politician headshots for this one. She's smiling all big. Her hair is all poofed. Her eyeballs are in mid transformation into the lizard person mode. Very well done, Dame Allie.
Yeah,
yes.
Really reflecting on the 74 years of Hillary, the crow's feet are really.
Yes, you could see it, it's written on her face.
Yes, which we think it's 70. We're told it's 74 years, but actually it's 740 years.
We have quite the collection now of lizard people portraits. Once we get the metaverse going here, we'll have the whole hall,
gallery, of
the hall of the lizard
people.
Master shills.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame Allie, and thank you, Ebony Blaze, for the haiku. Appreciate that. Let's move on to Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dave.
Gives us a note piece for this week's sheet of players for the upcoming 2022 NWO Fantasy League Draft. We've got a couple actors, a lizard and a turtle. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins. P.S. Psalm 40 and I are finalizing all the rules still, and we'll send those over once the player sheets are finished. But just wanted to remind you that every player earns 13 points if you guys share an article that features them.
Yes.
The special ability points for each player are bonuses added on to that.
Okay. That makes sense. I get it. Yep. Okay. So there you go. So every character has a potential for points. It's the special ability points that get you those bonuses. Okay, and here we go. We got the 4 more players of the New World Order Fantasy League. Keep an eye out, folks. Start making your draft list, because this will be happening. This will be you'll want a head start. You'll be ahead of your fellow draftees. We're starting with the funniest guy on Ukrainian TV, age 44. This is Zelensky. Location, Ukraine. Specialty, joke telling.
Oh.
Some stats here. Former star of the hit Ukrainian TV show Servant of the People, where he played the role of president on the Ukraine 4 years before he became the actual president of the Ukraine under the newly created Servant of the People political party. Yeah, it was really a genius. CIA operation that got him where he needed to be. That only helped U.S. interests. At least that's some crazy Russian Putin propaganda. Of course, we would never do that here in the U.S. 13 points if he shaves his face.
Oh,
ooh, that's the thing. That would be extra points, because that's like part of his brand. He's the laid back, funny president. He's got to have the scruff. Next, we've got the Governator, 74 ages, location California, specialty governating, son of a Nazi brown shirt, Gustav Schwarzenegger, who joined the SA just 6 months after the Knight of the Broken Glass and earned the Iron Cross First Class during his service. That's a lot of details.
Yeah.
I knew that his dad was a Nazi. I didn't know he was so highly decorated.
He was a great Nazi.
Yeah.
Not just any old Nazi.
You think Schwarzenegger was paper-clipped?
Oh, maybe he's a paperclip baby. Maybe that's why he's allowed to.
I know that we're doing this paperclip thing. We're getting the scientists, but should we grab this extremely muscular baby too? Maybe he's so muscular because of the science.
He could be a Hollywood star.
Yes, we'll use.
He doesn't speak well, though. It doesn't matter.
He doesn't need to speak. Look at those pecs. Some more stats. Does not much care for your freedom.
Screw your freedom.
13 points if he appears on another public service announcement. That's possible.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Human Queen. In quotes, 95 years old, Buckingham Palace, specialty shape-shifting. Some stats. Descendant of the benevolent and beloved 15th century Romanian ruler Vlad the Impaler. That is true.
Yep.
Owns over 6.6 billion acres of land. Oh my gosh.
She's winning in the Monopoly game.
Yeah, seriously. The Matriarch, 13 points, any story on any member of the royal family or parliament. Ooh, that's a winner right there.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we got Quick Mitch, 80 years old, location inside his shell, specialty agility. Stats are scared to challenge Klaus to single turtle combat. That's just mean, but true. Worth a meager $34 million by U.S. senatorial standards, and 13 points if he becomes Senate Majority Leader.
Oh, it's possible.
Again.
Yep.
It is possible. There is chatter. There is chatter. Thank you very much, Dove. Love it. Great sheet. Keep an eye out, folks. Start making your list.
I love it. So we got the lizard is the queen, and the turtle is Quick Mitch.
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Thank you, Dove. Appreciate that. We also have lots of stuff going on back here. We have a piece from Bibuzuzu.
Bibuzuzu.
But we have a note with it as well. Found this random box labeled Be Chili in the frozen section of my grocery store and just knew I had to make it into some sort of art for the show. Maybe you can use it as a background when you're asking for ratings and reviews. Shout out to my Minnesota peeps. Let's hurry up and set up a date for the meetup. Search MN at the Canary Cry community.
Yeah, set a date, folks. Come on, let's get a meetup going. Thank you very much, Bibuzuzu. And we have here a sort of stylized photograph of a freezer in a grocery store. And there's a box with marker written on it, Be Chili. And we've got some origami-looking birds. One of them has a big googly eye. It says, leave a rating and review, or you are ugly, horrible person. Be Chili. Fun.
Perfect.
You know,
might have to leave it up here.
Yes, we may do that. We do have. I heard word that we have more animations coming, but until then, this will be a great thing to throw up. Thank you very much, Bibuzuzu.
Thank you, Bibuzuzu, and that does it for the art. We do have one microfiction.
Yes, we do.
Microfiction.
The lumbering behemoth rises, bellowing in a dark voice. Flippy, where are my targets? Well, I'll get that information, Master Nimrod, responds the small, tinny voice. An image of a paperclip searching in the distance appears in the mechanical beast's eye. It's happening, Gonz. The robot takeover. It's happening.
Oh, Master Nimrod revealing himself, huh?
Yes, Master Nimrod and his loyal servant Clippy. That makes sense. Clippy did have some sort of dark proclivity, but also very helpful. So it makes sense that he would sort of, find fulfillment in helping the sort of risen Babylonian conqueror. Okay, thank you very much, Rung Smash.
Thank you, Rung Smash. That does it for this break, I believe.
Let's do it. Wake up, quick. Everybody, wake up.
Hold on. Yeah. Wake up.
Gonz wants you to stay asleep.
Wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
What? I do not want people to stay asleep.
Oh, I didn't think you heard that.
Oh, I hear all.
Did you ever have the feeling that you were being watched?
Yeah, have you? It's like I'm watching you.
It's like we're all
watching you.
It's like both of us are being watched.
Yeah. Okay. So here's an article from The Atlantic, because I know you love The Atlantic, Basil. It's your favorite outlet.
The barbs in your voice.
In the ideas section, of course, we know that ideas are very dangerous.
Yes.
Basil, what is happening to your camera? It looks like something's really washed out. I can't tell if it's like smudges on your camera or if it's a light. This happens
at this time of day. When we go this late, the light from my window goes across the camera.
Fun.
There's nothing really I can do about it right now.
Well, the headline here is the Ukraine crisis briefly put America's culture war in perspective.
Briefly.
Briefly, yeah. Late last month, the world watched in real time on social media as a nuclear power invaded a sovereign neighbor. In the days before Russian forces entered Ukraine, many high-profile commentators processed the impending crisis through the lens of America's unending culture war. The left-wing contrarian Glenn Greenwald sneered that the CIA had told the media to use the term invasion, while the Fox News host Tucker Carlson implied that Russian President Vladimir Putin wasn't as bad as American cancel culture. Quote, "Has Putin ever called me a racist?" Carlson wondered out loud. Quote, "Has he threatened to get me fired or disagreed for disagreeing with him?" COVID truth or conspiracy theorists say...
The babies are invading, folks. It's the invasion of the babies.
Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Okay.
Tucker is a Russian asset.
Yeah. COVID truth or conspiracy theorists sagely pronounced the Russian military buildup a, quote, wag the dog moment, a fabricated crisis ginned up by elites pushing the Great Reset, a malicious gambit to redirect people's attention away from truckers fighting vaccine tyranny.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's why, but it certainly was a helpful result.
But then, on February 24th, the invasion began. On American social networks, where the culture war normally rages ceaselessly, the fights that tend to dominate online debates, such as the ones over COVID policies, school curriculums, and trans athletes, suddenly went quiet. I don't know if they went quiet. I think maybe it went quiet for this person's algo.
Yeah, totally.
On this person's Twitter feed.
Totally. That's why I love the ideas section.
Yeah, this wasn't for lack of effort. Many hyper-partisan influencers tried to keep up their shtick, but the public's attention appeared to be turning elsewhere.
Also, it's okay if it goes quiet. If there's a potentially World War III starting event, it's okay to not talk about something for a day.
No, it's not. We must keep pounding people.
Well, you're right. You are right in his opinion. His opinion, which monetizes the obsession, anger, and lunacy of the sort of internet hive mind. It is not okay for him when it goes quiet for a day, because then he has nothing to write about and nothing to monetize. Moving on.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix your box. It is like
my light is shining.
It's really giving away the illusion that you are in some kind of podcasting pod.
Oh, yeah, it's messed up my green screen, hasn't it?
It's really bad, but it's okay. It's
I'll
fine.
fix it. I'm fixing it. I'm going to go fix it while you read.
This is where it gets kind of interesting, too. Data from CrowdTangle, a tool that tracks user engagement with Facebook content, suggested that many of the top posts among American users focused on the horrors and heroism of the conflict, families splitting up, Ukrainians volunteering to defend their country, a young soldier sacrificing himself to blow up a bridge. Although an imperfect metric, the top 10 list derived from CrowdTangle data, a ranking typically dominated by the most successful political rage content of the moment, suggested that at least for a couple days following the invasion, users were more engrossed in coverage of the breaking war. Those first few days after Russia's invasion revealed something important about the United States. Much of what looks like unbridgeable polarization online may be the product of boredom, distraction, and jadedness. When something real happens, people pay attention to that instead. As if we haven't had like world atrocities taking place constantly, in smaller scale, probably maybe,
but also doing a great job of sort of characterizing, questioning the official narrative, and observing alternative histories than what we're being told as not something true enough to hold our attention when something happens. Oh, your games, something real happens and your silly internet games are over. Oh, now I see. You must not really believe them at all, or something.
That kind of discredits everything else. We refresh our feeds incessantly, looking for new information and sharing it. Spoken like a true social media addict there. And as a shooting war stated, average users sought out experts and reputable news organizations. Google Trends, for example, showed a relative increase in searches for nuclear weapons and potassium iodide, a treatment used after radiation emergencies, while searches for Ukraine were at an all-time high. Yes, the propaganda worked is what you are
surprised. Like,
the mind control has worked is what this person is basically reporting.
What is wrong with this guy?
The culture war temporarily faded into the background. Did it? Much of it did in the early days of 2020 when a new pathogen was still largely confined to China. I don't know how much more we can do of this, but the vibe.
No, yeah. If you've got a punchline to this, I would love to hear it.
Let's see if we can hold it down for one more paragraph here. The vibe shifted after the invasion of Ukraine began was so profound. Many Twitter users, the vibe shifted, Basil.
Good. Hey, he isn't wrong, man.
The Twitter users assumed that Russian trolls, so often blamed for the tumult of the online political debate since 2016, had suddenly been banished from American screens. This assumption fueled speculation. Maybe the trolls had been reassigned to focus on Ukraine, taken offline by Russia's new social media restrictions.
That's a conspiracy theory.
Or somehow bankrupted by the precipitous plunge of the ruble. Quote, please take note.
The trolls get paid in Bitcoin, you dumb.
Hey now. Quote, please take note of how dramatically Twitter has changed since the freezing of Russian assets. Suddenly, all those anti-Biden American patriots have disappeared. Read one tweet that received more than 100,000 likes. Physicians with verified accounts noted that they were
if it
no
got
longer...
that many likes, it must be true.
It must be true. Physicians with it's not Twitter feeding the sentiment into the platform. Physicians with verified accounts noted that they were no longer being barraged by anti-vaccine, anti-mandate, or pseudoscience conspiracy theorists. Interesting. Maybe the truth was getting out a little too much in terms of the COVID thing, and so they needed to get people to pull. They needed to get everybody out.
So it's an illusion. First of all, they're basically saying you and I don't exist.
Right.
They're also which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like they've spent years building up this idea that our country is filled with conspiracy theorists and stuff, and then suddenly they disappear. And they're like, oh, there are no conspiracy theorists. They're all just Russian trolls. And then, totally ignoring the fact that, what have we been dealing with for at least 2 years, but definitely more, when it comes to social media? They're using the absence of, anti-narrative, official narrative views as evidence that conspiracy theorists don't exist, and yet Twitter's sole MO is to censor them and delete them and hide them. Well, it's like Twitter flipped the switch, which got rid of all the conspiracy theorists or whatever, and then they're just using that to say that all those conspiracy theorists are Russian assets. Okay, get it. The troll farms are down.
This study actually kind of pushes back against that a little bit.
Oh, good.
So let's keep reading. It is a little interesting. In general, Americans have been too quick to blame Russian trolls for the degraded quality of online discourse. Residual anger about Russian interference in 2016 in the 2016 U.S. presidential election has prompted many people, especially on the left, to attribute rancorous discussion to foreign agents hell-bent on dividing Americans. The story is comforting. It implies that the fault lies somewhere other than with our fellow citizens or ourselves. Yet, my team's research at the Stanford Internet Observatory suggests that the conspiracy theories pervading conversations about COVID or politics typically originate with Americans, and they spread because enough Americans want them to. Although some foreign agitators do play on the fringe of some hashtags, they are seldom the primary drivers in the public conversation. If flooding social media with propaganda is an act of aggression, Americans are our own worst enemy. So it's almost like
a real roller coaster of emotions.
It's taking all that you ranted on and saying, no, you're right. It's it's not bots. At least with bots, we're kind of just trying to put the blame on something, somewhere else. In reality, it's Americans. It's all the Americans making all this disinfo happen.
That is so bizarre. So
isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So I'm having a really hard time following the logical cohesion that this article is trying to.
I think
is it more just like double speak confusion, mind control? Like what in the world?
I think they were trying to. That's what they were doing. They were setting because it's the Atlantic. They're trying to appeal to predisposed sentiments. You know, a lot of the left, the liberal,
and
the audience is reading this and saying, "Oh yeah, it's always the trolls, all the trolls, man." And
I forgot what that's called. There's a special name for that rhetorical device, which you basically list off things that do not, logically fit together,
right?
And a crowd of people, the majority of a population, will ignore the things that they don't agree with and latch on to the things that they do agree with.
So confirmation bias.
Yes,
well, that's partly.
That's the root phenomenon for sure. So you can list 10 things that do not fit together, and they will latch onto the one thing and then say that it's all true. It's very advanced.
Yeah,
you got to say that about the Atlantic.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too that there's a Stanford Internet Observatory. We have an observatory trying to find aliens.
We have heard of them before.
But also, I know it's just always fun to remind ourselves.
Like this a strange elite academic idea that we need some sort of true science behind looking at Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh no.
This is a pretty long article. Let me try to wrap it up here towards the end. Interestingly, Russian state media, it goes through the whole process of like propaganda and, who was putting out what information, Telegram and all that. Interestingly, Russian state media seem to be looking westward again when justifications of denazification flopped as a pretext for invasion. Okay, these outlets' English language accounts started talking up purported Ukrainian bioweapon labs supported by the Pentagon. Chinese state media began boosting the story too. But the Russians don't need shadowy troll accounts to whisper about it on Twitter because, predictively, prominent American culture war influencers have taken the bait and aired the conspiracy theory on their own platforms. What was the U.S. government's role in the biolabs anyway?
What?
He leaves that question in italics and just leaves it there.
As if it wasn't confirmed by our own government?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Still,
again, it's just, my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. Let me just finish
speechless.
this up. I know. Still, the early days of the Russian invasion show that everyday users have choices. The American culture war influencers didn't disappear. Users just didn't pay as much attention to them. It shouldn't take a shooting war to pull our eyeballs away from the culture war. The normal state of online discourse shouldn't be an information war of all against all. The brief moment when Americans focused on more important things didn't last, but it did show that we have some agency here.
Oh my gosh. As if the Atlantic was not like one of the main purveyors of the culture war.
I know.
It's like they're
it's turning a blind eye. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to say it, but
the double speak is incredible.
Incredible. Yeah. It's
all right. Well, I got this camera the best I could. I put a little cardboard hood over it.
Oh, it looks great.
It looks like yours doesn't look great
mine's
now.
Starting to
What's going on your side?
It's the pole shift, man.
Were you trying to adjust to me?
No, I wasn't. But it looks like, I can do
well, that's mind-boggling, what you just read from The Atlantic there. Just pure propaganda. Just pure
unadulterated propaganda.
Malinformation. Just pure culture war. Somehow they made a conversation about ending the culture war a part of the culture war. You know what I mean?
Isn't that great? Yeah.
Yeah. It's really brilliant. It's scary brilliant what they did there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of scary brilliant, Gonz, let's continue our exploration of the Great White Desert.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go first.
It's a snowstorm. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
Okay, folks. We cracked the code last episode. Thank you. A couple people sent me some links. I had asked for links of, is there anybody else talking about what we're talking about? And nobody successfully got me anywhere. I don't know where I wanted to be. I did get some links of like, hey, this guy talks about Antarctica sometimes. But like there wouldn't be anything about Antarctica in what he sent me. But I believe that somebody's talking about it. But I still maintain we are the foremost conspiracy theorists.
I don't know, man.
About Antarctica. No, just let it. I'm gonna claim it until I'm proven wrong. I'm willing to be proven wrong.
No, I think in terms of like a beat, I think we might be the only one. I don't think anyone's doing like.
Nobody covers the beat like we do. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean Antarctica's been covered by a myriad of people in the context
theories,
of the fringe.
Yes, there are theories about Antarctica, of course. They've been there forever. There are, news stories that get covered about Antarctica. But as far as a full-scale panopticon of coverage, we have got this beat on lock, baby. So I'm over here at the newscientist.com. Newscientist.com, the headline, Arctic and Antarctic see extreme heat and historically low sea ice. So we've got sort of a response going on.
Right, because we covered the story about the spike.
Yes, and thank you, Sir Sigurd the Beast, who sent me the math on the 40-degree Celsius temperature spike that happened at both poles just like recently, like last week or something. And that came out to be like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. There was a 100-degree temperature change in a day in Antarctica and the North Pole. So there's sort of a scramble to talk about this, not even really explain it, but just sort of get ahead.
They got to cover up the HARP system or whatever they got going on. They need a more scientific explanation,
Well, I find it even more fascinating that the lack of authoritative explanation.
Yeah, where's what's his name?
Like the fact that they were saying that it wasn't climate change. Like that's their perfect example. Like why would you, anywho. So there's something in the messaging that, we don't know what this is. It's not climate change. That is very important. But let's keep going. Abnormally hot air has hit both the world's poles at once, while the extent of Arctic sea ice appears to have been historically low this winter. Temperature records were broken in Antarctica as warm air swept unusually far into the heart of the continent. Concordia Station which is high above sea level and has an annual average temperature of minus 50 degrees Celsius. Reached an all-time high of negative 12 degrees Celsius, which is still very, very cold, on March 18th, beating the 13.7 degree record set on December 2016. This I was very happy to find, because they said that the negative 12 was a record. We've never seen it this hot before.
Right, but
something is
much?
happening.
Yeah,
and then how much was it beaten? Well, it was beaten by 1.5 degrees in 2016. So this is not without precedent. And
in terms of the temperature, maybe the speed at which it changed is the thing, right?
Yeah. Well, hold on. There's more to go. I just need to type something in real quick. Sorry. Great radio. I'm in the metaverse.
Do you want me to read part of this as you?
No, because this is very important.
All right.
But I'm going back to it now. Another research station, Vostok, also saw record high temperatures. Quote, the Antarctic heat is really extreme. I haven't seen anything like that. Colleagues haven't seen anything this extreme, says Walt Meyer at the U.S. National Snow and Ice Data Center in Boulder, Colorado. A band of westerly winds around Antarctica usually isolates the continent from other weather systems. But in the past week, an atmosphere river of hot air originating in the mid-latitudes traveled down from Tasmania and South Australia, breaching those winds to travel far across the ice, says John Turner at the British Antarctic Survey. So there's like an invasion, Gonz. an incursion of hot air river that broke through the force field. Although such events aren't unprecedented, that's what we were looking for, the temperatures this time are very high, Turner says. While it is undoubtedly an extreme event, he thinks the Antarctic heat looks like natural variability rather than climate change. Excuse me? Climate denier? Antarctic scientist? Excuse me? Are you denying the science that Antarctica is the first victim of climate change, and that natural variations exist in the almost limitlessly complicated system that is Earth's weather movements? This cannot be. Past
it gets worse.
Past research by Turner has found no discernible trend in extreme temperatures in Antarctica, where the hole in the ozone layer appears to have canceled out the impact of global warming so far. Excuse me, Antarctic scientist? Global warming has been canceled. Global warming is canceled, Gonz. We did it. The Russian trolls did it. We canceled global warming. The recent highs don't have any consequences, such as impacts on landing strips for scientists stationed on the continent either, says Ted Scambos at the University of Colorado Boulder. A lot of Colorado people here, because most have already departed ahead of the Antarctic winter, and those remaining are hunkered down with supplies. That's the Ukrainians who are stuck there. The Ukrainian scientists. Oh, don't worry, they're fine. Most of them have already left, and if they didn't, they're set. The record temperatures come shortly after Antarctic sea ice declined to a record low minimum extent at 1.92 million square kilometers on the 25th of February, the day after the war started. Quote, it was quite a lot lower than anything else in the 40-plus year record, says Scambos. However, he says, interesting, 40-plus year record kind of connects to the inflationary record.
Oh, yeah.
We're at a 40-year high of inflation and a 40-year low of Antarctic ice. You know what that means?
Nephilim penguins?
Money comes from ice in Antarctica. As the ice melts, more fiat
money.
Dollars are released into the atmosphere.
That's what they're printing the money from. Okay.
I mean, that makes as much sense as Biden's explanations. However, he says Antarctic sea ice extent is highly variable from year to year, and no downward trend has emerged yet because of climate change.
This guy better watch out, man.
Greta is gonna attack this man in an alleyway somewhere. The record sea ice low and recent temperatures are unconnected, he says. Though he thinks if there was more ice this year, it may have blunted the impact of the warm air by drawing more moisture out of it. Temperatures have also been unusually high in the Arctic recently, with some areas 30 degrees Celsius warmer than usual, and the region as a whole 3.3 degrees Celsius hotter than the long map. 33 degrees.
That's all we care about the North Pole. We don't care much about the North Pole.
Yeah, well, the Masons are up there on the North Pole.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Russia have to travel over the North Pole to start invading Canada and Alaska and?
Yeah, the quickest way to missile the U.S. would be over the Arctic.
Yeah.
Because of, if you believe in a round Earth, Gonz. We got him. We got him, flat Earthers.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh wait, no. Even on the flat Earth, that is the fastest way. Actually,
I gotta look at
it's more of a proof for flat Earth
map there. Yeah.
The cause of the heat is a pulse of warm, moist air. Yeah. Wow, this... okay, let's keep going. Such pulses of heat in the Arctic have been seen few times in recent years, most notably in January 2016, when temperatures were up to 8 Celsius above average. Okay, so both in January and December of 16, were the previous hottest times. Quote, so this is not unprecedented, but it's certainly a strong event, and it's something that is quite rare until recent years, says Meyer. There may be some surface melt at the North Pole, but the effects will be...
North Pole, okay, we don't care.
We don't care about the North Pole. But it's funny because this is diametrically opposed to what the other article is saying. The other scientists were like, never before seen, ludicrous heat. Oh my gosh. The heat in the far north comes by. Yeah, it's all Arctic. Gonz, wow. This is seems like there's a media war. There's perhaps a war for our minds going on around the Antarctic. I don't even know who to believe anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think Fauci. You're supposed to believe Fauci.
Yeah, Fauci, come tell us about the ice, please. So, there was someone, and I'm sorry, there wasn't much actual info to go off of. There's just some screenshots that somebody sent me regarding the artificial sun.
Right, about China launching the artificial sun. I saw that too. I don't know that it's...
I don't know. I was trying to track down like a legit source on that because they love to brag about that.
Yeah.
But I could not find any sort of straightforward reporting or bragging about their artificial sun.
It would be a good way to cancel both China and Russia. Russia invading Ukraine, cancel them. China busting out the
melting the Antarctic.
Antarctic. This can't continue.
But 2016, what I was trying to do a quick search of, 2016 is around the time that we were reporting on the artificial suns. Mm-hmm. So I got this. This was actually written last year, but it has some information here. In 2016, K-Star, that's an artificial sun company. In 2016, K-Star set a world record for maintaining plasma heated by containing plasma heated to 90 million degrees Fahrenheit for 70 seconds. Wow. This record was broken again in 2017. So, I was trying to, if they've been blasting off or trying to get these artificial suns going since 2016 at least, but they've been firing them up relatively often since then. So I'm not sure if that's what's doing it. But it could be some sort of, weather weaponry is not unheard of, and China is notoriously at odds with Australia right now regarding Antarctic claims, specifically resources and things like that, because China doesn't have a claim, or at least a big one. So, I don't know. This is possible that some sort of heated weather beam was fired up to shoot some hot air over Australia and melt
you know what happened?
Australia's Antarctica section or something.
The lizard people were in their UFOs. They're trying to make a crop circle in the UK or something, and somebody got a little rowdy up there. Hillary got, he's like, I have COVID. Oh no, start freaking out. Bump the guy with the laser. Yeah. Like, oh no, and then just this big spark of heat, and then. And then I haven't done that since 2016.
We have a code red, and there's a little sign on the above the door that says, this space laser factory has been accident free since 2016, and then they have to go up there and change it.
Yeah, I gotta change it. Okay, well, to wrap up the show, I got one more thing here, and this goes back to yes.
Baby's coming to be a part of the show. We've got a fun time with Robert Swan.
Yes. So for those of you who may be new to the show, Robert Swan is the man who is leading the booze cruise to Antarctica.
A famous, or notorious at least, Antarctic explorer who is currently leading a cruise ship full of influencers on what seems to be a booze cruise to Antarctica with there's some magnificent live streaming capabilities in order to progress the climate change, awareness campaign of the elites. Good timing, especially since newscientist.com just had all these scientists say it is not global warming, but okay, not climate change. All right, so what's going on? What's Robert Swan up to?
Well, I don't know if it is directly Robert Swan. But this is TravelAgentCentral.com, and the headline here is Swan Hellenic changes course for Russia-Ukraine conflict and Asian restrictions. So, this is a travel website, and it's talking about a large boat cruise called the Swan Hellenic.
Yes, it's a smaller vessel, but a cruise company.
Yes. And, they're just announcing basically that they have to change directions, blah, 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 whatever. So, but, it just caught my attention about the Swan thing. And, that was the thing. I was thinking, there's another connection there, and I don't know what it is. And then you had reminded me about Robert Swan. I was like, oh, yeah, maybe. Is this his booze cruise?
The second I thought it, I'm like, wow, Robert Swan is really getting into Antarctic cruises. He has a whole cruise line now.
Yeah, so I went to the Swan Hellenic website here and clicked around. I don't think this has to do with Robert Swan.
Maybe it's a branding thing. Maybe they licensed his name or something.
Or maybe he changed his name to go with the theme, which we will get into here. If we take the theosophical description or understanding of the swan, it's an extremely complex symbol of transcendence, of spirit in the world, of cycles and creation. Perhaps a more metaphysical aspect of the swan symbol are demonstrated in the androgynous interpretations, but as male or female, the symbol continues to retain its transcendent nature. And there's all this, this was more androgynous, but a lot of the typical interpretations were like, oh, it's the divine feminine. The swan, it represents power of femininity, because it's a powerful creature, yet it is still graceful.
Which is an interesting concept, considering that it was Zeus, right, who turned into a swan. So like the manliest dude, like mythological principality, turned into a swan to hang out with some of human female.
Yes,
hang out, and they were just hanging out, kids.
It's the Genesis 6, divine entities breaking some kind of barrier of species and mating with human women. So that theme is interesting, that it connects to the swan, Robert Swan, Swan Hellenic with, the Greek connection there.
Right.
But if you continue on
Swan
with this,
Hellenic, that is just like a weird way to name your boat Zeus, isn't it?
It is. It kind of is. And then, but the article goes on here. So the line announced that its first ship, the 152-passenger Minerva, which launched in late 2021, will set a new course into the northern hemisphere for its Arctic season, preceded by new UK and Celtic Discovery cruises, 2 ships in Antarctica. In addition to Minerva, the line's second ship, Vega, which is now set to launch in September, will join Minerva for the next Antarctica season. So, the 2022-2023 Antarctica season, we have Minerva and Vega joining in on the fun. And of course, if we look at Minerva, we have... Hold on, honey. We're almost done. Of course, Minerva is a Roman goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare, justice, law, victory, and the sponsor of arts, trade, and strategy.
Oh, almost like she would be in charge of some sort of new world order centered around Antarctica.
And also the supply chains and world commerce and trade, kind of like Revelation, the
merchants.
The merchants fornicating with the harlot of Babylon,
Okay.
Minerva was the virgin goddess of music, poetry, medicine, wisdom, commerce, weaving, and the crafts. She's often depicted with her sacred creature, an owl, usually named as the Owl of Minerva, which symbolizes her association with wisdom and knowledge, as well as, less frequently, the snake and the olive tree. So that's Minerva. Minerva's going to Antarctica there to meet up with Zeus. And then Vega. Vega, this is starnameregistry.com. Just to get the story, and I knew about this, but Vega and Lyra are two stars in the heavens there. Yeah. There's mythology built around them. And I'm going to do the Japanese version. They kind of do a thing where they take the Japanese story and they replace the names to, reflect Vega and Altair. And this is the tale. I'll just read it real quick. Vega was celestial princess, a goddess of the sky. So again, we have two female goddesses in Minerva and Vega.
Like Kamala and Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi made the setup. A goddess of the sky. Immortal she may have been. Yeah, Pelosi might be immortal.
Yeah, sure seems that way, doesn't it?
Yet she was weary as it seemed she would live in eternity alone. One day, Altair, a mortal, caught the eye of Vega. She descended from the heavens to greet him. And as they got to know each other, she fell deeply in love. Vega promises Altair that no matter what, they will be together in the heavens. Isn't that interesting, considering the Genesis 6 story?
Yeah.
But when Vega's father finds out, he is enraged. Is that supposed to be like a backwards version of Yahweh?
It's toxic masculinity, man.
That his daughter would fall in love with a mere mortal. His fury only grows when he discovers that Vega promised to bring Altair up to the heavens with her. In the most cruel of fashions, Vega's father grants the promise that she made. The two lovers were placed in the sky as stars. Yet, while they were both in the heavens, they were not together. The great celestial river, known to us as the Milky Way, separated them. Yet each year on the 7th night of the 7th moon, a bridge of magpies forms across the celestial river. Though it would not be for one night a year, the two lovers are reunited as Altair dares to travel to his beloved. Yet sometimes, Altair's annual trip across the celestial river is too dangerous, and he doesn't quite make it. In those dark years, Vegas's tears form raindrops that fall over Japan.
Wow.
So there's the mythology.
Okay, yeah, that is quite the saga.
Yeah, but it's fascinating. Every time we look at this story of like some celestial being coming down and mating, there's always a theme that fits into the biblical narrative from Genesis 6, and it's always flipped from these other mythologies. In this one, Vega's father is all mad, right. He's cruel.
It's like it's a moral opposite.
Yeah.
And that, that's what, when you talk to people about this, and then there's a certain sort of academic, I won't even say atheist, because that has like a bunch of other stuff connected to it. But there's, an explanation of, oh, yes, the Bible is like another mythological book, and the same stories are told in other mythologies, and it's, it's repeated, and it's just another version. Yeah. But it's not, because the Bible almost always, it may have, a sort of similar trend as mythologies like the one you read about, which does have some very interesting Genesis 6 connections.
Yeah.
But the morals of the story are always almost opposite.
Right.
Which says something.
Yeah,
right?
It really describes the rebellion, like rebellion against the father, this unjust father. And that's exactly the story of the fallen one.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. But that's how it goes. So there you go.
Well, I have not been able to find a solid connection between Robert Swan and Swan Hellenic.
I tried looking, but I couldn't find anything.
I did find myself on robertswan.com, though, which is pretty fun.
I'm sure we can do a breakdown later.
Go check it out. Okay. Well, very good, Gonz. Are we good?
I think we're good. Yep.
Okay. Let's do it. We went a little long today, but that's okay.
Yeah.
What time is it? Oh,
it's late. It's
time to go. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We are going to be back on Friday, which, if my thing works, I will let you know. That is the 25th of March. Mm-hmm. But we got a few more people to thank here. So we'd like to start thanking our clip producers.
Yes.
Yes.
Here we go.
Baby. Thanks. That's right. Thank you to Emsworth, Faye Liverin, and Epsilon for chugging away, doing the good work of clipping out the shows, making them available on the Canary Cry Clips channel, as well, on YouTube, as well as Odyssey. Very fun, very cool. We're approaching 1,000 followers over on the Clips channel there, and we just had some more clips drop today. So if you are looking for clips of the show that you want to share with your friends, your family, put on your social media, whatever the case may be, that's the place to go, baby. Go find clips, and you can also, well, it's good for so many reasons, and we are so grateful to our clippers who take the time to clip segments out of the show and make them available individually. We love you, clippers. And so go follow the YouTube channel, Canary Cry Clips.
Next
up,
clippers.
We've got the timestampers to thank.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
That's right. Monday's show was timestamped by Jackie U. Thank you very much, Jackie U.
Thank you,
It
Jackie.
is hard work.
It is definitely hard work.
Indeed. And time to talk about some meetups.
Canary Cry Meetup.
Make sure to head to CanaryCry.Meetups.com. I'm doing it right now, so I can tell you about some meetups. But if you go to CanaryCry.Meetups.com, you will see all of the currently scheduled meetups of Canarians meeting all around this great country and sometimes even the world. Yes?
I was just saying, we got to update the Washington meetup has passed.
Oh, the Washington meetup has passed. We have not heard any. I hope it went good. I hope they're not all lost in the forest or something.
Oh, is today? Oh, today was the... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was April.
Next month. Yes. So we've got some meetups coming up. The Washington meetup just passed, but we've got Southern California coming up, East Texas coming up, Pennsylvania coming up. We heard about Minnesota working on putting one on, and Gonz, why don't you breeze through? Now, let me tell you, over at CanaryCryMeetups.com, you can find all of the contact information for the hosts of those meetups, and I highly recommend going to these. It is incredibly important. The world is opening up. Things are safe. But things are safe in a way. You never know.
Turn on a dime.
You could turn on a dime. We could pivot. But we do know that the world is still a crazy place, and there's nothing quite as good as meeting up with real human beings who have similar ideas about the world and everything. So it's very important to connect with people in person. So go to these meetups. We've got the East Texas meetup coming in on April 30th. We've got, Washington meetup is gone every third Saturday. We've got the People's Zoom meetup on July 9th. We've got the Pennsylvania meetup in Hollidaysburg. And if you're out there, there's not a meetup near you, put one on yourself. Guaranteed there are Canarians somewhere within driving distance of you. So if you want to put on your own meetup, it's simple. Just pick a place and just tell us. We'll tell people to meet you there. And you can email that to CanaryCryRadio@gmail.com. So go check it out, CanaryCryMeetups.com. See you at the meetup.
This is fun.
Yes. Now, let's see here. Make sure to leave ratings and reviews. We need those on Apple Podcasts and Audible. Not just for nothing. It is really helpful in activating the algorithms to get new people to be introduced to the show. Yeah, that's right. The more ratings and reviews we get, the more the robots there out in the cybersphere are like, wow, this must be good. I'm going to show it to Terrence from Pennsylvania. And they do. And then Terrence listens to the show. It's amazing. And it's all because you left ratings and reviews. But don't take it from me. Take it from Gonz's grumpy uncle.
Ugly, horrible person. You must leave review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family.
That's right.
Ugly, horrible person.
When we get 5 or more reviews a week, those robots kick into high gear and share the show with tons of people that haven't heard of it before. So please be a part of that. It helps us out quite a bit. And, if we get that 5 or more, you'll make me go, ooh, woo, baby. And other than that, just you can become a producer of the show. It's the only way that it works. This show doesn't exist without the participation of the producers, and that comes in many forms, with your time, your talent, or your treasure. If you want to produce the show financially, which is a vital aspect, there are plenty of costs that go along with this, and also it's the only way we live, folks. It's the only way. And that's thanks to our producers. You can head on over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. That's right. Canary Cry News Talk is your show. It's all of our responsibility. We are all stakeholders.
We're stakeholders in this podcast. You're all stakeholders.
You're
in this
listening.
podcast.
You're a stakeholder, and you're responsible to keep it going. And you can do it in many ways. I do want to thank our financial producers of this episode 462, starting with executive producer Kyle C. Thank you very much. But including Gottlieb M, Harm V, Morv, LX Protocol V2, James M, William B, Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch, Rashana G, Rebecca T, Josh M, Jonathan B, Sir Scott Knight of Truth, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Sir James Knight and Servant of the Line of Judah, Jackie U, Gail M, Veronica D, Runk Smash, and Doctor Who Done That. And a big old congratulations to Dame Epony Blaze, whose name I will memorize someday, but for now, I will read it off this email. Dame Epony Blaze cares for twins, cats, birds, and blooms for the Most High God. Congratulations, and thank you for your ongoing producership. You can also produce the show with your time and your talent. If you're an artist or a musician or whatever, make something, send it into the show. We'd love to feature it on the show. Just send it to our email. You know how to do it. You can also, what else? Your time.
Share the show.
Yes. Share the, well, to go to Canary Cry, what is it? Radio.com/support. And at the bottom of that page, there's like a fun little quiz you can take, fun little form you can fill out. And sort of volunteer your time and your skills and your talents and your interests, whatever. We've got all sorts of back end stuff that producers help with every single week, and we could not do the scope of things that we do if it was not for the producers. And it doesn't matter what you're into. We're happy to help you learn as well, especially maybe you're in between jobs. You don't want to empty space on your resume, or you just want to be part of the movement, the Canary Cry movement, whatever it is. Go fill out that little form there, and it's a fun form. It's got like jokes and stuff in it. It's really fun. I worked hard on it, not for very long, but I did enjoy doing it. So go fill it out, and we'll get back to you. Other than that, share the show. Share it with your friends, your family. Tell them about it. Come on, word of mouth. It's the way to go, baby. Post it on your social media. It's all good times. Speaking of social media, post our links. Post the videos of the clips. Tag us. Do the whole thing. And eventually here, I'm going to have a great system to thank you on the show. And don't worry, I will be thanking the backlog of people once I'm able to conglomerate them all. Other than that, there's all sorts of funky ways to share the show. You can do it your own unique way. We're all a unique bearer of the image of God, filled with the creativity and the unique expression on this planet that only we can accomplish. You were put here for a reason, my dear listener and or producer. And you can explore that by exploring different ways of telling people about the show. It's not just about getting more listeners, but it's about facilitating the scales falling from the eyes of people who have been trapped in the mind prison of the mainstream media, corporate media, news, mind prison. Did I say mind prison? I'm saying mind prison a lot. So, you know, when I go to the mind prison and I talk about the mind prison, and you can do so too. The mind prison, it's a real place. I'm pretty sure it's in Antarctica. I know I talk about Antarctica a lot. I've invited you people down there to start the changing of the world. But, you know, what they don't tell you about this extreme temperature fluctuation going on is that it's really coming straight from the center of the Antarctic International Mind Prison. Yes, it's where they keep and imprison all of these stolen consciousnesses and free wills that are collected and bundled up into nice little packages and stored in a facility in Antarctica. And what happens is, you know, once in a while, when enough people share the show, a huge blast of space laser will come down and free those consciousnesses, the wills, the minds, the free-thinking individuals from that prison, which is otherwise known as the corporate news media. And that's what you got to do. So usually I tell you to go to Antarctica. Don't do that. Just go ahead, grab one of those leftover rockets that Elon keeps bragging about that you can fly up every once in a while. Or if there's none of those, you can grab Space Cowboy Jeff Bezos' funny-looking rocket, launch that sucker on up there. You can be your own Space Cowboy, baby. Make sure to wear your spurs. And while you're floating around up there, watch out for gigantic sort of sentient asteroid aliens that we've heard so much about on the news. But if you do see one, follow its trail very stealthily, almost like a stealth variant, BA2. It's all in there, folks. We're decoding the secret messages, and I'm telling you, this is the way to do it. I should write some sort of video game or something. Well, once you do that, you'll want to dock with the space lasers that are inhabited by the lizard people. Walk on board. You'll notice once you board the space laser station with lizard chills such as Klaus Schwab and Hillary Clinton hanging out up there. Fauci was there for a month, but unfortunately he got kicked out. He's back to work down here. But you'll notice you walk in the door, the airlock will close, and suddenly and a tumbleweed will fly by, and suddenly you are the number one lone wolf savior of the Antarctic mind prison people. You'll figure it out. The instructions will be duct taped to the bottom of your space cowboy boots. Just follow the schematics that I put under there for you, and that will reprogram the laser to go ahead and set the minds free for everybody. And as that laser,
what you are talking about,
as that laser tears down through the atmosphere in some sort of superheated river of blast wind, when you blast some wind down from the space laser, there will be a strange voice coming from that wind that will carry off into the ionosphere and picked up by all the ham radio users, and hopefully they are licensed, because it is illegal to use one without a license. And suddenly, heard around the world, there will be an incredible noise, and that noise will be, well, howdy, folks. My name's Basil, and you're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. And then the revolution will begin, and it's all because of you space cowboy, you. You could do it that way. You don't have to do it that way. You can do it any way you want, but no matter what you do, if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, Gonz, any last words?
I'm very tired.
Yeah, me too. And the show wasn't even as long as it could have been.
I know. I want to tell people there is no, I'm not going to really do a playlist just for the sake of time. I got to get out of here, man.
That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Well, if they want to hear the mixtape, they can go to the mixtape tab at CanaryCry.Newstalk.com. There you go. Always on, always there for you. Ad-free, Canary Cry mixtape.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside that cage.
Especially that Nick Cage. Yeah.
Nice.
Did you see that Nick Cage?
I did. His GQ covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're looking for a source of joy and also terror after the show, just Google Nick Cage GQ cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do that.
I could eat a peach for hours.
This is the way.
Feed him more.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Give me a break. Give me a break.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!